The 7-year-old black girl collapsed onto the rice, her knees splitting open against the sharp grains. Blood seeped through her torn skin as she screamed. "Please, I can't take it anymore. It hurts so bad." Vanessa Cole stood over her lips, curled into a satisfied smile. "Shut your mouth. Your father isn't coming to save you. Nobody is coming. You're nothing but a burden, just like your dead mother was." Maya Johnson's small body convulsed with sobs. Her hands clawed at the cold laundry room floor. Her voice shattered into pieces. "Mama, Mama, please help me." But her mama was gone, and the woman who replaced her wanted Maya gone too. 3 hours from now, everything would change. A door would open, a father would see, and a single word would set fire to this house of secrets. Before we continue, please subscribe to our channel and follow Maya's journey until the very end. Leave a comment telling us which city you're watching from. We want to see how far this story travels around the world. Now let us begin. Maya Johnson was 3 years old when she learned what death meant. She remembered standing in a church filled with people wearing black. She remembered the smell of lilies and furniture polish. She remembered her father lifting her up so she could see inside a long wooden box. Her mother lay there, eyes closed, hands folded across her chest, wearing the white dress she had saved for special occasions. "Mama sleeping?" Maya had asked. Marcus Johnson had held her tighter, his whole body shaking. "Yes, baby, Mama's sleeping. She's going to sleep for a very long time." "When she wake up?" Her father had not answered. He had just buried his face in her hair and cried. That was 4 years ago. Maya was 7 now, and she understood what death meant. It meant her mother was never coming back. It meant the arms that used to hold her, the voice that used to sing to her, the love that used to wrap around her like a warm blanket. All of it was gone forever. But Maya still talked to her mother every night. She would pull out the photograph hidden under her pillow, the only one Vanessa had not found and destroyed, and she would whisper into the darkness. "Hi, Mama. Today was hard. I tried to be good, but I made her angry again. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I wish you could tell me. I wish you could come back, even just for one day. I miss you so much. My chest hurts." Tonight, Maya would need her mother more than ever. It started with orange juice. Maya had woken up early that Thursday morning before Vanessa was awake, before the house filled with tension and fear. She had crept downstairs to the kitchen with an idea in her head. She would make breakfast. She would set the table beautifully. She would show Vanessa that she could be useful, that she could be good, that she was worth keeping around. Maya pulled a chair to the counter and climbed up. She reached for the orange juice in the refrigerator, holding it carefully with both hands. She found a glass in the cabinet, the pretty crystal ones that Vanessa loved so much. She poured slowly, carefully, her tongue poking out in concentration. Perfect. Not a single drop spilled. Maya smiled. Maybe today would be different. Maybe today Vanessa would see how hard she was trying. Maybe today she would finally earn a kind word, a gentle touch, a moment of love. She picked up the glass and turned toward the dining room. Her foot caught on the chair leg. Time slowed down. Maya watched the glass slip from her fingers. She watched it tumble through the air. She watched it shatter against the hardwood floor, orange juice and crystal exploding across the wood like a broken sun. Maya's heart stopped. No, 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 no. She dropped to her knees, hands scrambling to pick up the pieces. A shard sliced into her palm. Blood welled up mixing with the juice. She didn't feel it. She couldn't feel anything except the terror rising in her chest. Click, 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 high heels on the stairs. Maya looked up. Vanessa stood at the top of the staircase wearing a silk robe, her face twisted with sleep and irritation. "What was that noise?" Maya's voice came out as a whisper. "I'm sorry. I dropped a glass. I was trying to make breakfast. I wanted to surprise you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Vanessa descended slowly, each step deliberate, each click of her heels like a countdown. She stopped at the edge of the mess and stared down at Maya kneeling in the juice and blood and broken glass. "That was part of my wedding crystal." "I know. I'm sorry. I'll buy a new one. I have birthday money. I can fix it. You can fix it." Vanessa laughed, but there was no warmth in it. "You can't fix anything. You ruin everything you touch. Just like your mother ruined your father." Maya flinched like she had been slapped. "Don't say that about my mama." Vanessa's eyes narrowed. "What did you say?" Maya knew she should stop. She knew she should apologize, bow her head, accept whatever punishment was coming. That was what she had learned to do over the past 6 months. Stay small, stay quiet, survive. But something broke inside her. My mama didn't ruin anything. My mama was good. My mama loved Daddy. My mama loved me. Vanessa's hand shot out and grabbed Maya's arm, yanking her to her feet. Maya cried out as glass shards pressed deeper into her knees. "Let me tell you something about your precious mama." Vanessa's voice was low and dangerous. "Your mama was weak. She got sick and she gave up. She left your father to raise you alone, and look at what a mess he's made of it. Look at what a mess you are." "That's not true." "Your father was relieved when she died. Did you know that he told me himself? He said he finally felt free." Maya's whole body went cold. "You're lying." "Am I? Then why is he never here? Why does he spend every possible moment away from you because you remind him of her, because looking at you makes him sick?" Tears were streaming down Maya's face now. "Stop it! Please stop!" Vanessa leaned in closer. "Your father doesn't love you, Maya. He never did. He keeps you around out of guilt, nothing more. And one day soon, he's going to realize what a burden you are, and he's going to send you away. Maybe to boarding school, maybe to foster care, maybe somewhere even worse." "No, Daddy loves me. He tells me all the time." "Words are cheap." Vanessa straightened up, releasing Maya's arm. "Now clean up this mess, and when you're done, meet me in the laundry room. You need to learn a lesson about breaking things that don't belong to you." She turned and walked away, heels clicking against the floor. Maya stood alone in the middle of the mess, bleeding and trembling and trying desperately to hold on to something her stepmother was determined to destroy. Her father loved her. He did. He had to. 20 minutes later, Maya had cleaned up every drop of juice, every shard of glass. She had wrapped her cut hand in a paper towel. She had wiped away her tears and straightened her dress. Now she stood outside the laundry room door, her heart pounding so hard she could feel it in her throat. She didn't want to go in. Every part of her body was screaming at her to run, to hide, to escape through the back door and never come back. But where would she go? She was 7 years old. She had no money. She had no family, except her father, and he was 3,000 miles away. She had no choice. Maya pushed open the door. Vanessa was waiting inside. She had changed into a red dress, her hair and makeup perfect, like she was preparing for a photo shoot instead of punishing a child. On the floor in front of her was a thick line of uncooked rice. Maya's stomach dropped. She had heard about this punishment before, whispered about on the playground by kids whose parents came from strict traditional backgrounds. Kneeling on rice, it was supposed to be incredibly painful. "No," Maya whispered. "Please, no. Get on your knees. Please, I said I was sorry. I cleaned everything up. Please don't make me do this." Vanessa's eyes were cold as stone. "I'm not going to ask again." Maya's legs were shaking so badly she could barely stand, but she knew what would happen if she refused. She had refused once before, 3 months ago, and Vanessa had locked her in the basement for 6 hours without food or water. Slowly, Maya lowered herself down. The moment her knees touched, the rice pain exploded through her body. The grains were hard and sharp, pressing into her already wounded skin like dozens of tiny teeth. She gasped, tears springing to her eyes. "Hands behind your back." Maya obeyed, her whole body trembling. Vanessa smiled. "You're going to stay here until I say you can get up. If I hear one sound, one single sound, you'll stay here all night. Do you understand?" Maya nodded, biting her lip so hard she tasted blood. Vanessa turned and walked out, closing the door behind her. Maya heard the lock click. She was alone. The pain was immediate and overwhelming. Within minutes, Maya could feel the rice grains grinding into her flesh, pressing against bone, drawing blood. Her knees had already been cut from the broken glass, and now the wounds were being torn open even further. She tried to shift her weight to find some position that hurt less, but there was no escape. Every movement just drove the rice deeper. Minutes passed, or maybe hours. Maya couldn't tell anymore. The pain had become her whole world. She thought about her mother. She thought about the stories her father used to tell her about how Denise would sing gospel songs while she cooked, how she would braid Maya's hair every Sunday morning while they watched cartoons, how she would pray over Maya's bed every night. "Lord, protect this child. Keep her safe from harm. Let her know she is loved." Maya's mother used to say that prayer every single night. Maya still remembered the sound of her voice, soft and warm and full of faith. But God hadn't protected her mother. Cancer had taken her anyway, and God wasn't protecting Maya now. She was alone in the dark, bleeding and broken, and no one was coming to save her. The thought cracked something open inside her. All the pain, all the fear, all the loneliness she had been holding inside for 6 months came rushing out. "Please," she screamed, no longer able to hold back. "Please, I can't take it anymore. My knees are bleeding. Please." The door flew open. Vanessa stood in the doorway, face twisted with rage. "What did I tell you about making noise? I can't help it. It hurts too much. Please, just let me get up. Please, I'll do anything. I'll be perfect. I'll never make another mistake. Please, please, please. Vanessa stalked forward and grabbed Maya by the hair. Maya screamed as she was yanked to her feet, rice grains falling from her bloody knees. You want to scream? Fine. I'll give you something to scream about. She dragged Maya out of the laundry room and down the hallway. Maya stumbled and tripped, crying out with each step as pain shot through her legs. You're hurting me. Good. Maybe pain is the only thing that gets through your thick skull. Vanessa threw Maya against the wall. The little girl hit hard and crumpled to the floor, gasping for breath. Listen to me very carefully. Vanessa stood over her hands on hips, eyes blazing. I am sick of you. I am sick of your face, your voice, your constant need for attention. You are a burden. You are a reminder of a woman I am trying to erase from this house. And if you think your father is going to choose you over me, you are wrong. Maya curled into a ball, sobbing. I want my daddy. I want my daddy. Your daddy isn't here. Your daddy is never here. Because he doesn't want to be here. Because being around you is exhausting. That's not true. Daddy loves me. Daddy loves his money. Daddy loves his company. Daddy loves his reputation. Vanessa laughed. You're just an obligation. She reached down and grabbed Maya's chin, forcing the child to look at her. I'm going to tell you something, and you're going to remember it for the rest of your life. You are unlovable, Maya Johnson. Your mother knew it. That's why she died, to get away from you. Your father knows it. That's why he's always gone. And I know it. That's why I treat you the way you deserve to be treated. Maya's whole body was shaking. Tears and snot streamed down her face. Her voice came out as barely a whisper. You're wrong. My mama loved me. My mama didn't want to die. She fought. She fought so hard. She lost. She didn't lose. She got sick. It wasn't her fault. It wasn't... Maya broke down completely, her small body racked with sobs. Vanessa released her chin and straightened up, smoothing down her dress. Go to your room. Don't come out until tomorrow morning. If I see your face again today, you'll wish you'd never been born. She turned and walked away, heels clicking against the hardwood floor. Maya lay on the cold floor for a long time, crying until she had no tears left. Then slowly, painfully, she pulled herself up. Her knees were bleeding through her dress. Her hand was still wrapped in a blood-soaked paper towel. Her whole body ached. But the worst pain was inside her chest. She limped toward the stairs, each step agony. She climbed slowly, holding onto the railing and leaving small red handprints on the white wood. She made it to her room, she closed the door, she collapsed onto her bed. And she prayed. Mama, if you can hear me, please help me. Please send someone. Please don't let me be alone anymore. I'm trying so hard to be good, but nothing I do is ever right. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why nobody loves me. She pulled out the photograph from under her pillow. Her mother's face smiled up at her, frozen in a moment of perfect happiness. I miss you, Mama. I miss you so much. I wish you were here. I wish you could hold me. I wish you could tell me everything is going to be okay. She pressed the photograph against her chest and closed her eyes. Please, Mama, send me an angel. Send me anyone. I can't take this anymore. Next door, Miss Gladys Turner was kneeling in her garden and pruning her roses. She was 62 years old, with silver hair and kind eyes that had seen more than most people could imagine. She had taught elementary school for 40 years, had watched thousands of children grow up, had learned to recognize the signs of pain that kids tried to hide. She had been watching Maya Johnson for 6 months now, and every day her heart broke a little more. Miss Gladys had known Maya's mother. Denise Williams, before she became Denise Johnson, had been one of her students 30 years ago. A bright, beautiful girl, with a voice like an angel and a heart full of love. Miss Gladys had watched her grow up, get married, have a baby. And she had watched her die. Cancer was cruel. It had taken Denise slowly, piece by piece, until there was nothing left but a shell. Miss Gladys had visited her in the hospital near the end. Denise had grabbed her hand with surprising strength. Miss Gladys, promise me something. Anything, baby. Watch over my Maya. Marcus is a good man, but he works too much. He gets lost in his own head. Promise me you'll keep an eye on my baby girl. I promise, Denise, I promise. Now kneeling in her garden, Miss Gladys wondered if she had kept that promise. She had seen things over the past 6 months, things that made her stomach turn. She had seen Maya outside in the rain standing in the corner of the backyard for hours. She had seen Maya carrying heavy grocery bags while Vanessa walked ahead empty-handed. She had seen Maya's light slowly going out day by day, but she had not said anything. She had not called anyone. She had told herself it wasn't her place, that she didn't have proof, that maybe she was imagining things. She had failed. The sound of screaming cut through the afternoon air. Miss Gladys froze her pruning shears suspended in midair. "Please, I can't take it anymore. My knees are bleeding." That was Maya's voice. Miss Gladys dropped the shears and moved toward the fence that separated her property from the Johnson estate. She pressed her ear against the wooden slats, heart pounding. She heard Vanessa's voice, cold and cruel. "You want to scream? Fine. I'll give you something to scream about." She heard dragging sounds, a body hitting a wall, a child crying. And then Vanessa's voice again, and words that made Miss Gladys's blood run cold. "You are unlovable, Maya Johnson. Your mother knew it. That's why she died, to get away from you." Miss Gladys covered her mouth with her hand, tears streaming down her wrinkled cheeks. How could anyone say something so cruel to a child? How could anyone look at that sweet little girl and see anything but innocence and pain? She thought about Denise. She thought about the promise she had made at that hospital bed. She had stayed silent for too long. No more. Miss Gladys pulled out her phone and dialed with shaking fingers. "Child Protective Services. This is Keisha speaking. How can I help you?" Miss Gladys took a deep breath. "My name is Gladys Turner. I need to report child abuse. The address is 4847 Magnolia Lane. The child's name is Maya Johnson. She's 7 years old." She paused, looking toward the Johnson mansion, where a little girl was suffering alone. "And I have been a witness to everything." 3,000 miles away, Marcus Johnson sat in a conference room overlooking the San Francisco Bay. He was surrounded by executives in expensive suits, all of them looking at charts and graphs projected on the wall. Quarterly earnings, market projections, expansion opportunities, the language of money and power that had consumed his life for the past 15 years. But Marcus wasn't paying attention. He was thinking about Maya. He had called home that morning before this meeting started. Vanessa had answered on the fourth ring, her voice syrupy sweet. "Marcus, darling, how's San Francisco?" "Fine. Can I talk to Maya?" "She's sleeping, honey. You know how kids are. She was up late last night playing with her dolls." "It's 10 in the morning. She should be awake by now." "I'll have her call you back later, okay? Don't worry about us. Everything here is perfect." But everything wasn't perfect. Marcus could feel it in his bones. Something was wrong. He had been feeling it for months now. Every time he came home, Maya seemed smaller, quieter, more afraid. She used to run into his arms when he walked through the door. Now she hung back, looking at Vanessa first, as if waiting for permission. He had tried to talk to her about it once, 3 months ago during one of his rare weekends at home. "Baby girl, are you happy?" Maya had looked at him with those big brown eyes that reminded him so much of Denise it hurt to breathe. "Yes, Daddy?" "You like having Vanessa around." Maya's eyes had flickered toward the door just for a second. "Yes, Daddy." "You know you can tell me anything, right? If something's wrong, if someone is hurting you." "Everything's fine, Daddy." But her voice had been too flat. Her smile had been too forced. And Marcus, fool that he was, had let it go. He had told himself he was imagining things. He had told himself Maya was just adjusting. He had told himself that Vanessa was a good woman, a loving woman, the woman he had married. He had told himself lies. "Mr. Johnson." Marcus blinked. Everyone in the room was staring at him. "I'm sorry, what was the question?" His CFO cleared his throat. "I asked if you want to approve the Singapore expansion budget or if you need more time to review." Marcus looked down at the papers in front of him. Numbers, projections, opportunities, the things that used to make his heart race with excitement. Now they just felt empty. He thought about Denise. He thought about the night she died, how she had grabbed his hand and made him promise to take care of their daughter. "Marcus, don't let her grow up without knowing how much she's loved. Don't get so caught up in work that you forget what matters." He had promised. He had sworn on everything he held sacred, and he had broken that promise 1,000 times over. Marcus stood up suddenly, his chair scraping against the floor. "I need to go home." His team exchanged confused looks. "Sir, we have 4 more meetings today, and the investor dinner, cancel them. But the Singapore deals, cancel everything." His assistant, a young woman named Rachel, stood up nervously. "Mr. Johnson, the next flight to Atlanta isn't until tomorrow morning." "Then charter a plane. I don't care what it costs. I need to get home today." "Is everything okay? Did something happen?" Marcus was already walking toward the door. He stopped, turned back, and looked at his team. "I've been building this company for 15 years. It's worth $200 million. I have offices in 6 countries. I have more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes. He paused, his voice dropping. And I just realized, I don't know my own daughter. I don't know her favorite color, her best friend's name, what makes her laugh or cry. I left her with a stranger and told myself it was fine. He grabbed his jacket off the chair. I'm going home. I'm going to hold my daughter, and I'm going to find out what I've been too blind to see. 4 hours later, Marcus's private jet landed at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. He didn't wait for his driver. He rented a car and broke every speed limit on the way to Magnolia Lane. The feeling in his chest had grown stronger, more urgent, more terrifying. Something was wrong with Maya. He could feel it. He pulled into the driveway at 7:23 p.m. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. The house looked peaceful, beautiful, like something from a magazine. Marcus knew better than to trust appearances. He grabbed the gift he had bought at the airport, a handmade doll with dark brown skin and beautiful natural hair dressed in traditional African fabric. The woman at the shop had smiled when he bought it. For a special little girl. For the most important person in my world. Now Marcus walked up to his front door holding that doll like a talisman. He put his key in the lock. The foyer was dark. The living room was silent. From somewhere in the house, he heard the soft clink of a wine glass. Marcus, is that you? Vanessa appeared in the doorway to the kitchen wearing a red silk robe, her hair perfectly styled. She looked surprised, then annoyed, then quickly composed her face into a smile. What are you doing home? I thought you had meetings all week. Marcus didn't answer. He was looking around the house, noticing things he had never noticed before. The portrait of Denise that used to hang in the hallway. Gone. The crayon drawings Maya had made for him. Gone. The family photographs that used to sit on every surface. Gone. The house had been scrubbed clean of his first wife, of his daughter's presence, of anything that didn't fit Vanessa's perfect vision. Where's Maya? In her room, I suppose. You know how she is always sulking about something. Has she had dinner? Vanessa waved her hand dismissively. I was just about to call her down. Marcus looked at the kitchen. One plate on the counter, one set of silverware, one napkin. Were you... Something flickered in Vanessa's eyes. Something that looked like fear. Of course I was. I just got distracted. You know how busy I am running this household all by myself while you're off conquering the world. Marcus started walking toward the stairs. Where are you going? To see my daughter? Marcus, wait. Vanessa moved to block his path. Let's have a glass of wine first. Catch up. Maya's fine. She's always fine. Move. The word came out hard. Cold. Like nothing Vanessa had ever heard from him before. She stared at him for a long moment, then slowly she stepped aside. Marcus climbed the stairs 2 at a time. His heart was pounding. The feeling of wrongness was overwhelming now, screaming at him that he was too late, that something terrible had happened, that he had failed his daughter in a way that could never be forgiven. He stopped outside Maya's door. From inside he heard a small voice. A broken voice. A voice that shattered his heart into a million pieces. Please, Mama. If you can hear me up in heaven, please send someone to help me. Please don't let me be alone anymore. I can't take this anymore. Marcus pushed open the door. Maya was lying on her bed, curled into a ball, clutching a photograph against her chest. Her dress was stained with orange and red. Her knees were visible beneath the hem. They were bloody, torn, covered in small cuts like something had been grinding into her flesh. Maya heard the door open and her head snapped up. Her eyes went wide with terror. She scrambled backward against the headboard, arms raised to protect her face. I'm sorry, I'll be good. Please don't hurt me. Please don't. She stopped. She stared. Daddy? The word came out as barely a whisper, like she couldn't believe what she was seeing. Marcus couldn't move. He couldn't breathe. He could only stare at his daughter, his baby girl, his whole world looking at him like he was a monster she needed to hide from. The doll fell from his hands and landed on the carpet. Maya? His voice cracked. Maya, baby, what happened to you? Maya's face crumpled. All the walls came down. All the strength she had been holding on to for 6 months dissolved in an instant. Daddy, she cried and threw herself off the bed and into his arms. Marcus caught her. He held her. He pulled her so close he could feel her tiny heart hammering against his chest. She was sobbing, her whole body shaking, her tears soaking through his shirt. I'm here, he kept saying the words, tumbling out between his own tears. I'm here. Daddy's here. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm never leaving you again. I'm never ever leaving you again. Maya couldn't speak. She could only cling to him, her small fingers digging into his jacket like she was afraid he would disappear if she let go. Marcus looked at her knees. The blood, the cuts, the evidence of something unspeakable. Maya, baby, who did this to you? Tell Daddy what happened." Maya buried her face in his chest, her voice muffled and broken. "I dropped a glass. I was trying to make breakfast. I wanted to be helpful, and she made me—" She couldn't finish. She just sobbed harder. Marcus felt something rising inside him, something dark and terrible, something he had never felt before. Rage. Pure burning, unstoppable rage. He looked up at the doorway. Vanessa was standing there watching them. Her face was blank, unreadable, but her eyes were calculating, already working out her next move. "Marcus, let me explain. She's being dramatic. She fell, that's all. I was trying to help her and she—" "Don't!" Marcus's voice was ice. "Don't you dare!" He stood up slowly, Maya still clinging to him. He held his daughter with one arm pressed against his side, shielding her. "What did you do to my child?" "I didn't do anything. She's making things up. You know how kids are. They exaggerate everything. Her knees are bleeding. There are cuts all over her hands. She was praying for someone to save her." Vanessa's eyes hardened. "She's manipulating you, Marcus. That's what she does. She plays the victim so you'll feel sorry for her. I've been dealing with it for 6 months while you've been off living your life." Marcus took a step forward. Vanessa took a step back. "I talked to the neighbors before I came in. Miss Gladys Turner. She told me some interesting things." The color drained from Vanessa's face. "That old woman is senile. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She told me she's been watching through the fence for months. She told me she saw you force Maya to stand outside in the rain. She told me she saw you make Maya do chores for hours while you sat inside drinking wine. She told me she heard you screaming at Maya that she's unlovable, that her mother died, to get away from her. That's ridiculous. That's—" "Is it?" Marcus's voice rose. "Is it ridiculous, Vanessa? Because I'm looking at my daughter right now and she is terrified. She is bleeding. She is broken. And she was praying to her dead mother for someone to save her from you." Maya whimpered and pressed closer to her father. Vanessa's mask finally cracked. All the sweetness, all the charm, all the carefully constructed facade fell away, revealing the ugliness underneath. "Fine. You want the truth?" "Yes, I disciplined her. Someone had to. You're never here, Marcus. You leave me alone with this child for weeks at a time and expect everything to be perfect when you get back. She's difficult. She's needy. She's always crying and whining and wanting attention. She's 7 years old." "She's a burden," Vanessa screamed. "She's a burden and a reminder, and I am sick to death of pretending otherwise. Every time I look at her, I see that woman. Your precious Denise, the saint, the angel, the perfect wife and mother. Well, guess what? She's dead, Marcus. She's dead, and I'm here, and I'm tired of competing with a ghost." Marcus stared at the woman he had married. The woman he had trusted to love his daughter. The woman he had brought into his home and his family. He saw her clearly now. All of her. The jealousy, the cruelty, the emptiness where her soul should be. "Get out." Vanessa blinked. "What?" "Get out of my house, right now, tonight." "You can't be serious. Marcus, we can talk about this. We can work through it. Every marriage has problems." "This isn't a problem. This is abuse. You abused my daughter. You tortured a 7-year-old child because you were jealous of her dead mother." "I did not torture her. I disciplined her. There's a difference." Marcus took another step forward. His voice dropped to something low and dangerous. "I'm going to say this once and only once. Get out of my house. Get out of my life. If you're not gone in the next hour, I'm calling the police." Vanessa's eyes narrowed. The calculation was back, mixed with something darker. "You'll regret this, Marcus. I know things about you. I know things about your business. I know things that could destroy you. I don't care. I could go to the press. I could tell them everything. Go ahead, I don't care. You're throwing away our marriage over a child." Marcus looked down at Maya, still pressed against his side. She looked up at him with those big brown eyes, so full of fear and hope and love. He thought about Denise. He thought about the promise he had made. "No," he said quietly. "I'm saving my daughter. Something I should have done a long time ago." He turned and walked back into Maya's room, closing the door behind him. He sat down on the bed, pulling Maya onto his lap. "Is she going away?" Maya whispered. "Yes, baby. She's going away, and she's never coming back." "Do you promise?" Marcus pressed his forehead against hers, tears streaming down his face. "I promise. I promise on my life. I promise on your mother's memory. She will never hurt you again." For a long moment they just held each other, a father and daughter finally reunited, finally seeing each other clearly. Then Maya whispered something that broke Marcus's heart all over again. "Daddy, I'm sorry I made you come home. I know you were busy. I know your work is important. Marcus pulled back to look at her. His beautiful daughter, his precious girl, apologizing for needing her father. Maya, listen to me. You are more important than any meeting. You are more important than any deal. You are more important than all the money in the world. I should have been here. I should have protected you, and I'm so sorry that I didn't. Maya's eyes filled with tears again, but this time they were different. These were tears of relief, of hope, of healing. Daddy? Yes, baby. Can you stay with me tonight? I don't want to be alone. Marcus gathered her into his arms and lay down beside her on the small bed, holding her close. I'm never leaving you alone again. I promise. From now on, wherever you are, that's where I'll be. Maya closed her eye, nestled against her father's chest. For the first time in 6 months, she felt safe. Downstairs, the front door slammed. Vanessa was gone. But this was not the end. This was only the beginning. The night stretched long and heavy over the Johnson mansion. Marcus did not sleep. He lay beside Maya on her small bed, watching her breathe, counting each rise and fall of her tiny chest like it was the most precious thing in the world. Every few minutes she would whimper in her sleep, and he would pull her closer, whispering words he should have said 1,000 times before. I'm here. Daddy's here. You're safe now. Around 3 in the morning, Maya's eyes fluttered open. Daddy? I'm right here, baby. I thought I dreamed you. Her voice was small, fragile, like it might break if she spoke too loud. I thought you weren't really here. Marcus felt his heart crack all over again. I'm real. I'm not going anywhere. Maya reached up and touched his face, her small fingers tracing his cheek like she was making sure he was solid. She said you didn't love me. She said you only kept me because you felt guilty. That's a lie, Marcus's voice shook. That's the worst lie anyone has ever told. I love you more than my own life. I would burn down the whole world for you. Then why were you always gone? The question hit him like a bullet. Marcus opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again, but the truth was ugly and it tasted like ash on his tongue. Because I was a coward. He forced the words out. When your mama died, I didn't know how to live without her. Every time I looked at you, I saw her face. I heard her laugh. And it hurt so much I couldn't breathe. So I ran away. I buried myself in work. I told myself I was doing it for you, building a future, making money. But I was lying. I was running from the pain. Maya stared at him with those big brown eyes. Do I really look like Mama? So much. Marcus's tears fell freely now. You have her eyes, her smile, her kind heart, and I was wrong to run from that. Your mama was the best thing that ever happened to me, and you are her greatest gift. I should have held on to you tighter. Instead, I let someone else hurt you. Maya was quiet for a long moment. Then she said something that shattered him completely. I forgive you, Daddy. Marcus broke down. He pulled his daughter against his chest and sobbed like he hadn't sobbed since Denise's funeral. All the guilt, all the shame, all the years of running came pouring out. I don't deserve your forgiveness. Mama always said forgiveness isn't about deserving, it's about letting go so your heart can heal. Marcus pulled back, looking at his daughter in wonder. 7 years old, and she was wiser than he had ever been. When did you get so smart? Maya almost smiled. Almost. Mama taught me, before she went to heaven. The first light of dawn was creeping through the windows when Marcus finally got up. Maya had fallen back asleep, her hand still clutching his shirt like she was afraid he would disappear. He carefully untangled himself and covered her with a blanket. Then he pulled out his phone and walked into the hallway. He had calls to make. The first was to his lawyer. David, I need you at my house in 2 hours. Bring divorce papers, and bring everything you have on emergency custody protections. The second was to his company. Rachel, clear my calendar for the next month. All of it. I don't care what needs to be rescheduled. I'm taking personal leave. The third was to a number he had never called before. A number Miss Gladys had given him through the fence last night, her eyes wet with tears, her voice trembling with apology. Detective Keisha Williams, Child Protective Services. Detective Williams, my name is Marcus Johnson. I believe you received a report yesterday about my daughter, Maya. There was a pause. Then a woman's voice, calm and professional. Yes, Mr. Johnson. I was planning to visit your home this morning. Please come as soon as you can. There's a lot you need to know. At exactly 8 o'clock, the doorbell rang. Marcus opened it to find 2 people standing on his porch. One was Miss Gladys Turner, holding a basket of fresh biscuits, her eyes red from crying. The other was a black woman in her mid-30s, tall and striking with natural hair, pulled back in a professional style and eyes that missed nothing. Mr. Johnson? The woman extended her hand. I'm Detective Keisha Williams. May we come in? Marcus stepped aside. Please. They gathered in the living room. Maya was still sleeping, and Marcus wanted to let her rest as long as possible. God knew she needed it. Miss Gladys sat on the edge of the sofa, twisting her hands in her lap. Mr. Johnson, I am so sorry. I should have said something sooner. I should have called the police months ago. I saw things, terrible things, and I told myself it wasn't my place to interfere. I will never forgive myself. Miss Gladys, Marcus sat down across from her. You called yesterday. You may have saved my daughter's life. That's what matters now. The old woman shook her head, tears streaming down her face. I made a promise to Denise. Before she passed, she asked me to watch over Maya, and I failed her. I failed both of them. You knew my wife. Miss Gladys looked up, surprise flickering across her face. She didn't tell you I was her teacher, back when she was just a little girl. 3rd grade, she was the brightest student I ever had. When she moved into this neighborhood with you, I felt like God was giving me a gift, letting me watch her build a family. Marcus felt something loosen in his chest. All this time, there had been someone watching over his daughter, someone who cared, someone who had known and loved Denise. Thank you, he said quietly. Thank you for keeping your promise, even if it was hard. Detective Williams cleared her throat. Mr. Johnson, I need to ask you some questions, and I need to see Maya's injuries. Of course. Can you tell me exactly what you observed when you arrived home yesterday? Marcus took a deep breath and began to recount everything. The dark house, the single plate in the kitchen, the prayer he heard through Maya's door, the blood on her knees, the terror in her eyes when she thought he was someone coming to hurt her. Detective Williams wrote everything down, her face growing grimmer with each detail. And your wife? Where is she now? I told her to leave. She's gone. Do you know where she went? No, I didn't ask. I just wanted her out of my house and away from my daughter. Detective Williams looked up from her notepad. Mr. Johnson, I have to be honest with you. Based on the report I received and what you've told me, there's enough here to pursue criminal charges. Child abuse, child endangerment, possibly more, depending on what the medical examination reveals. Whatever it takes, I want her held accountable. There's something else you should know. Detective Williams leaned forward. Women like your wife, they don't usually just walk away. They don't accept being removed from a comfortable situation without fighting back. You need to be prepared for the possibility that she might try to retaliate. Marcus thought about Vanessa's face when he told her to leave, the cold calculation in her eyes, the threat in her voice. She said she would destroy me. She said she knows things about my business. Do you believe her? Marcus considered the question carefully. Vanessa was my personal assistant for 2 years before we got married. She had access to a lot of information. Emails, documents, financial records. If she wanted to hurt me, she probably could. And does that worry you? Marcus shook his head slowly. I built my company from nothing. I can build it again. The only thing I can't replace is my daughter. Detective Williams nodded, something like respect flickering in her eyes. Good. Keep that perspective. Now I'd like to speak with Maya if she's awake, and I'll need to photograph her injuries for the official report. I'll go check on her. Marcus climbed the stairs, his heart heavy with dread. How do you explain to a 7-year-old that she has to show her wounds to a stranger? How do you ask her to relive the worst moments of her life? He pushed open her bedroom door. Maya was sitting up in bed, hugging her teddy bear, her eyes wide and alert. I heard voices, she said. Is she back? Is Vanessa back? No, baby, she's not coming back. Marcus sat on the edge of the bed. There's a nice lady downstairs. Her name is Detective Williams. She wants to help us make sure Vanessa can never hurt you again. But she needs to talk to you and look at your knees. Is that okay? Maya's face went pale. Do I have to? I'll be right there with you, the whole time. I won't leave your side for a second. Maya was quiet for a long moment. Then she squared her small shoulders and lifted her chin. Okay, I can be brave. Marcus's heart swelled with pride and sorrow all at once. His daughter had been forced to be brave for so long, too long. You're the bravest person I know. The interview took nearly an hour. Detective Williams was gentle, patient, never pushing too hard. She asked Maya to describe what had happened, and the little girl spoke in a halting voice, stopping sometimes to cry, sometimes to squeeze her father's hand until it hurt. She told them about the rice, about the hours of kneeling until her knees bled, About the times Vanessa had locked her in the basement. About the meals she was forced to skip. About the words that hurt worse than any physical punishment. She said my mama died because she didn't love me enough to stay. Detective Williams stopped writing. For just a moment, her professional mask slipped, and Marcus saw raw anger flash across her face. Maya, I want you to listen to me very carefully. The detective leaned forward. What that woman told you was a lie, a cruel, terrible lie. Your mama loved you more than anything in this world. Cancer is a sickness. It has nothing to do with love. Your mama didn't choose to leave you. She fought as hard as she could to stay. Maya's eyes filled with tears. Really, I promise you. When the interview was over, Detective Williams photographed Maya's injuries, the cuts on her hands, the wounds on her knees, the bruises on her arm where Vanessa had grabbed her. Each click of the camera felt like a knife in Marcus's heart. What happens now? He asked when they returned to the living room. Now I file my report. Given the severity of the abuse and the evidence we've gathered, sir, I expect the district attorney will pursue charges. Your wife will likely be arrested within the next few days. And Maya, for now, she stays with you, but I'd recommend getting her into therapy as soon as possible. What she's been through, it leaves scars, not just physical ones. I'll find the best therapist in Atlanta. Good. Detective Williams handed him a card. This is my direct line. If your wife contacts you, if she threatens you or Maya in any way, call me immediately. Don't engage with her. Don't try to handle it yourself. Just call me. I understand. Detective Williams paused at the door, looking back at Maya, who was sitting on Miss Gladys's lap eating a biscuit. Mr. Johnson, I've been doing this job for 12 years. I've seen a lot of children who weren't as lucky as your daughter, children who had no one to come home and save them. Maya has a chance now, a real chance. Don't waste it. I won't. The door closed. The house fell quiet. Miss Gladys stayed for another hour, helping Marcus make lunch, keeping Maya company while he stepped outside to call his lawyer. The divorce papers are ready, David said. I've also prepared a restraining order. She won't be able to come within 500 feet of Maya or the house. Good. File everything today. Marcus, are you sure you don't want to fight for the prenup? If she contests the divorce, she could walk away with a significant settlement. Marcus watched through the window as Maya helped Miss Gladys arrange flowers in a vase. She was smiling. Actually smiling. It was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. Let her have the money. I don't care. I just want her gone. By 3 o'clock that afternoon, Vanessa Cole's world had started to crumble. She didn't know it yet. She was sitting in a motel room on the outskirts of Atlanta, drinking vodka straight from the bottle, staring at her phone. Marcus hadn't called. He hadn't texted. He had simply cut her off like she was nothing. After everything she had given him. After 2 years of being his perfect assistant, anticipating his every need, making herself indispensable. After 6 months of playing stepmother to that whiny, needy, pathetic child. And this was how he repaid her. Vanessa hurled the bottle against the wall. Glass shattered. Vodka ran down the faded wallpaper like tears. You think you can throw me away? She whispered to the empty room. You think I'm just going to disappear? She pulled out her phone and scrolled through her contacts until she found a name she hadn't called in years. Derek Hayes. They had dated briefly back before she reinvented herself, before she learned to hide her rough edges behind designer clothes and a sophisticated smile. Derek was everything she had tried to leave behind. Rough. Dangerous. Connected to people who operated outside the law. But desperate times called for desperate measures. She pressed call. Well. Derek's voice was a lazy drawl. Vanessa Cole. Thought you were too good for me these days. I need your help. My help? He laughed. Let me guess. Your rich husband finally figured out what you really are. Vanessa gripped the phone tighter. Are you going to help me or not? Depends. What's in it for me? Money. A lot of it. $500,000. There was a long pause. I'm listening. Meet me tomorrow. I'll text you the address. And Derek, bring Tanya. I'm going to need both of you for this. She hung up and leaned back against the headboard, a cold smile spreading across her face. Marcus Johnson thought he could destroy her and walk away. He thought he could protect his precious daughter and live happily ever after. He was wrong. By the time she was done, he would lose everything, and it would all start with Maya. The next morning, Marcus woke to the smell of pancakes. He stumbled downstairs, confused, and found Maya standing on a step stool at the stove, Miss Gladys hovering beside her. Daddy, I'm making breakfast. Marcus's heart squeezed. You are? Miss Gladys is teaching me. She says Mama used to make the best pancakes in Georgia, and she's going to teach me the recipe. Miss Gladys smiled, her eyes misty. Denise used to come to my house every Saturday morning when she was a girl. I taught her to cook right in my kitchen. Now I'm passing it on. Marcus watched his daughter carefully flip a pancake, her face scrunched in concentration. For a moment, he could see Denise so clearly it took his breath away. The same determination, the same joy in simple things. They're perfect, he said, his voice thick. Maya beamed. Try one? They ate together at the kitchen table, maple syrup and laughter, and something Marcus hadn't felt in this house for years. Hope. The doorbell rang at 10 o'clock. Marcus opened it to find Detective Williams standing on the porch, her face grave. We have a problem. Marcus stepped outside, closing the door behind him so Maya wouldn't hear. What kind of problem? We went to arrest Vanessa this morning. She wasn't at any of her known addresses. Her phone is off. Her credit cards haven't been used since last night. Marcus felt ice spread through his chest. She's running, or hiding, planning something. Detective Williams met his eyes. Mr. Johnson, I've seen this pattern before. Abusers who flee when they're about to face consequences. Some of them run and never come back. Others, she paused. Others come back with a plan. What are you saying? I'm saying you need to be careful. I'm assigning a patrol car to drive by your house every hour. Keep your doors locked. Don't let Maya out of your sight. And if Vanessa contacts you, don't respond. Call me immediately. Marcus nodded, his mind racing. I'll hire private security. That's a good idea. I'd also suggest varying your routine. Don't be predictable. People who want to do harm, they look for patterns. After Detective Williams left, Marcus stood on the porch for a long time, staring at the quiet street. Somewhere out there, Vanessa was planning something. He could feel it in his bones. The same instinct that had called him home from San Francisco was screaming at him now. This wasn't over. It was just beginning. That evening, Marcus sat down with Maya in the living room. He had something important to tell her, and he didn't know how to start. Baby, I need to talk to you about something. Maya looked up from her coloring book. Are you leaving again? No. Marcus moved to sit beside her on the floor. I'm never leaving you again, I promise, but I need to tell you something about Vanessa. Maya's face went pale. Is she coming back? No, but the police are looking for her, and until they find her, we need to be very careful. That means staying close to home. That means not opening the door for anyone unless Daddy says it's okay. Can you do that? Maya nodded slowly. Is she going to try to hurt me again? Marcus wanted to lie. He wanted to tell her everything was fine, that there was nothing to worry about, that she was completely safe. But he had already lied to her by leaving her with a monster. He wouldn't lie again. I don't know what she's going to do, but I know this. I will protect you with my life. Miss Gladys is watching out for you. Detective Williams is looking for Vanessa, and tomorrow there's going to be a guard outside our house just to make sure. Maya was quiet for a moment. Then she said something that made Marcus's blood run cold. She told me once that if I ever tried to get her in trouble, she would take me away and Daddy would never find me. Marcus felt his hands start to shake. When did she say that? A long time ago, after I tried to tell you. She came to my room at night and said if I ever told anyone what she did, she would make me disappear. Marcus pulled Maya into his arms, holding her so tight she squeaked. Listen to me, that is never going to happen. I will burn down the whole world before I let anyone take you away from me. Do you understand? Maya nodded against his chest. I need to hear you say it. I understand, Daddy. But as Marcus held his daughter, he made a silent vow. If Vanessa came for Maya, there would be nowhere on earth she could hide. That same night, 30 miles away, Vanessa Cole sat in a rundown apartment with two people who would help her destroy everything Marcus Johnson loved. Derek Hayes was sprawled on a threadbare couch, his muscular frame relaxed but his eyes sharp. He was 40 years old, with a criminal record that included assault robbery and extortion. He had spent 3 years in prison and come out meaner than before. Tanya Brooks sat across from him, legs crossed, lips painted blood red. She was 36, beautiful in a hard-edged way, with a history of fraud and manipulation that made Vanessa look like an amateur. So let me get this straight. Derek lit a cigarette, blowing smoke toward the ceiling. You want us to snatch the kid. I want us to use the kid, Vanessa corrected. There's a difference. We take her, we demand ransom, Marcus pays, and we disappear with the money. Simple. Nothing about kidnapping is simple. Tanya leaned forward. How much are we talking? Just $2 million? Derek whistled. That's a lot of zeros. Marcus Johnson is worth $200 million. $2 million is pocket change to him. He'll pay without blinking. And if he calls the cops, Vanessa smiled. He won't, because if he does, he'll never see his precious Maya again. Derek and Tanya exchanged looks. There was greed in their eyes, but also calculation. This was a big job, big risk, big reward. What's the plan? Tanya asked. Vanessa pulled out a hand-drawn map of the Johnson property. She had memorized every inch of that house during her 6 months there. The security system, the blind spots, the best entry points. Marcus has hired security, but they're amateurs, rent-a-cops. They patrol on a schedule predictable as clockwork. At 11 p.m., there's a 15-minute window where the back of the house is completely unguarded. And the kid? Her bedroom is on the second floor left side. The window lock is flimsy. I've opened it myself a dozen times. Derek stubbed out his cigarette. When? Vanessa's smile widened. Friday night. Marcus has a meeting with his lawyer that evening. He'll be distracted, the security will be lighter, and little Maya will be all alone in her room just waiting for us. 3 days, Tanya nodded slowly. That gives us time to prepare. There's one more thing. Vanessa's voice hardened. I want to be there when we take her. I want to see the look on her face when she realizes her daddy can't save her. Derek raised an eyebrow. This is personal for you. That child ruined my life. She turned Marcus against me. She took everything I worked for. Vanessa's hands curled into fists. Yes, it's personal, and when this is over, Marcus Johnson will know exactly what it feels like to lose something he loves. The three of them sat in silence for a moment, the weight of their plan hanging in the air. Then Derek grinned. Friday night it is. Back at the Johnson mansion, Marcus was tucking Maya into bed. Daddy, can you sing to me? Marcus froze. Sing. Mama used to sing to me every night. I don't remember the words anymore, but I remember how it made me feel, safe, like nothing bad could ever happen. Marcus's throat tightened. He hadn't sung in years, not since Denise died. Music had been her gift, not his. But for Maya, he would try. He cleared his throat and began to sing, his voice rough and uncertain. An old gospel song. The one Denise used to sing while she cooked, while she cleaned, while she rocked Maya to sleep. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Maya's eyes fluttered closed. A small smile played at the corners of her lips. That's the one, she whispered. That's Mama's song. Marcus kept singing, tears streaming down his face until his daughter's breathing grew deep and even. He stayed beside her for a long time, watching her sleep, praying that he could keep her safe from the storm he knew was coming. Outside, the security guard made his rounds. And somewhere in the darkness, 3 pairs of eyes watched the house, counting down the hours until Friday night. Friday arrived like a slow-moving storm. Marcus woke at 5 in the morning, his body tight with tension. He had barely slept all week. Every creak of the house, every rustle of wind outside sent his heart racing. Detective Williams had called twice with updates, but Vanessa remained a ghost. No sightings, no credit card activity, no phone signals. She had vanished completely, and that terrified Marcus more than anything. He checked on Maya before heading downstairs. She was still asleep, her teddy bear clutched against her chest, her face peaceful in the early morning light. Looking at her, Marcus felt his resolve harden into steel. Whatever was coming, he would be ready. At 7 o'clock, his phone rang. Mr. Johnson, this is Detective Williams. We need to meet. I have new information. Come to the house. No, somewhere public. The Starbucks on Peachtree, 30 minutes. Marcus frowned. Why not here? Because I'm not sure your house is safe anymore. I'll explain when I see you. Marcus's blood went cold. What do you mean, not safe? 30 minutes, Mr. Johnson. The line went dead. Marcus stood frozen in his kitchen phone, still pressed to his ear. His mind raced through possibilities, each one worse than the last. Daddy? He spun around. Maya stood in the doorway, rubbing her chin, her hair a tangled mess. Hey, baby, you're up early. I heard you talking. Is something wrong? Marcus forced a smile. Nothing's wrong. Daddy just has to go meet someone for a few minutes. Miss Gladys is going to come stay with you. Maya's face tightened with fear. You're leaving. Just for a little while, 1 hour, that's all. I promise. What if she comes? What if Vanessa comes while you're gone? Marcus knelt down and took Maya's hands in his. The security guard is right outside. Miss Gladys will be with you, and I'm going to be so fast you won't even have time to miss me. Maya didn't look convinced. Can't I come with you? Not this time, baby, but I'll have my phone the whole time. If you get scared, you call me, okay? Maya nodded slowly. Okay? Marcus kissed her forehead and called Miss Gladys, who arrived within 10 minutes carrying a bag of fresh-baked muffins and wearing a determined expression. "You go do what you need to do," she told Marcus at the door. "I've got my eye on this child and my phone in my hand. Nothing is getting past me." "Thank you, Miss Gladys." "Don't thank me, just hurry back." Marcus arrived at the Starbucks at exactly 7:28 a.m. Detective Williams was already there, sitting at a corner table with her back to the wall. She had a clear view of every entrance. Her coffee sat untouched in front of her. Marcus slid into the seat across from her. "What's going on? Why all the secrecy?" Detective Williams leaned forward, her voice low. "Yesterday one of my informants contacted me. A woman named Tanya Brooks. Does that name mean anything to you?" Marcus shook his head. "She has a record. Fraud mostly. Con artist. Very smart, very dangerous." Detective Williams paused. "She's working with your wife." Marcus felt the air leave his lungs. "Working with her how?" "They're planning something. Tanya wouldn't give me details over the phone, but she's scared. She wants to make a deal. She'll give us everything in exchange for immunity." "Can you trust her?" "No, but I can use her." Detective Williams pulled out a photograph and slid it across the table. "Recognize him." The photo showed a large man with hard eyes and tattoos crawling up his neck. Marcus studied the face. "No, who is he? Con Derek Hayes? Ex-con. Assault, robbery, extortion. He spent 3 years in prison and came out worse than he went in. According to Tanya, he's the muscle behind whatever your wife is planning." Marcus's hands curled into fists. "What are they planning?" Detective Williams held his gaze. "They're going to take Maya." The words hit Marcus like a physical blow. He gripped the edge of the table so hard his knuckles went white. Tonight? That's all Tanya would tell me. She's supposed to meet me at noon with the full details, but I wanted you to know first." "Tonight." Marcus's voice came out as a whisper. "They're coming for my daughter tonight." "Mr. Johnson, I need you to stay calm." "Calm," Marcus's voice rose. "You just told me 3 criminals are planning to kidnap my child, and you want me to stay calm." "I want you to let me do my job." Detective Williams's voice was steady, unshakable. "We have a few hours to prepare. If Tanya gives us what we need, we can set a trap. We can catch them in the act and put all 3 of them behind bars for a very long time. And if the trap fails, if they get to Maya before you stop them, they won't. You can't promise that." "No, I can't." Detective Williams leaned back. "But I can promise you this. I have been doing this job for 12 years. I have saved children from situations worse than this, and I will do everything in my power to protect your daughter." Marcus stared at her, searching her face for any sign of doubt. He found none. "What do you need from me?" "I need you to go home. Act normal. Don't let Maya know anything is wrong. At 6 o'clock, I'll come to your house with my team. We'll set up surveillance position officers around the property. When they come, we'll be waiting." "And Maya?" "She stays in the house where we can protect her. If everything goes according to plan, she won't even know anything happened until it's over." Marcus shook his head. "Maya is smart. She'll know something is wrong." "Then tell her the truth. Tell her the police are going to be watching the house to keep her safe. Let her be part of the plan." Marcus thought about his daughter, her fear, her courage, the way she had squared her shoulders and said, "I can be brave. All right, I'll tell her." Detective Williams stood up. "Go home, Mr. Johnson. Stay with your daughter. And whatever happens tonight, don't try to be a hero. Let us handle it." Marcus drove home with his heart pounding in his chest. Every red light felt like an eternity. Every car that passed seemed suspicious. By the time he pulled into his driveway, his hands were shaking so badly he could barely turn off the engine. He found Maya and Miss Gladys in the kitchen making cookies. Maya had flour on her nose and chocolate chips stuck to her fingers. She was laughing at something Miss Gladys had said. For a moment, Marcus just stood in the doorway and watched. This was what he was fighting for, this joy, this innocence, this little girl who had already suffered too much. "Daddy." Maya spotted him and ran over, wrapping her arms around his waist. "You're back, Miss Gladys? Let me crack the eggs all by myself." Marcus lifted her up and held her tight. "That's amazing, baby." "Are you okay? You look worried." Marcus hesitated. He had promised himself no more lies, no more hiding. "I need to talk to you about something important." Maya's smile faded. "Is it about Vanessa?" "Yes." Miss Gladys wiped her hands on her apron and moved toward the door. "I'll give you some privacy." "No," Marcus shook his head. "Please stay. You're part of this family now. You should hear this too." They sat together at the kitchen table. Maya climbed onto Marcus's lap, her small body pressed against his chest. "The police found out that Vanessa is planning something bad," Marcus began. "She wants to take you away from me." Maya's face went pale. "Take me where—" "It doesn't matter because she's not going to succeed. Tonight, the police are going to be watching our house. They're going to catch Vanessa and make sure she goes to jail for a very, very long time." "Tonight?" Maya's voice trembled. "She's coming tonight." "Yes, but I need you to be brave, Maya. Can you do that?" Maya was quiet for a long moment. Her hands clutched the fabric of Marcus's shirt. He could feel her heart racing against his chest. Then she lifted her chin and looked him straight in the eyes. "I'm not scared of her anymore, Daddy. I used to be, but now I know she can't hurt me, because you're here, and Miss Gladys is here, and the police are going to protect us." Marcus felt tears prick his eyes. "That's right, baby. We're all going to protect you." "And Daddy?" "Yes. After tonight, can we get a dog? I've always wanted a dog. A big one that can bark really loud and scare away bad people." Despite everything, Marcus laughed. "After tonight, we can get whatever you want." The hours crawled by. At noon, Detective Williams called. Tanya Brooks had come through. The plan was exactly what they had feared. At 11 p.m. when the security patrol reached its blind spot, Derek would enter through the back. Vanessa would guide him to Maya's room. Tanya would be waiting in a car 2 blocks away with the engine running. Ransom demand $2 million. Deadline 48 hours. Instructions to be sent after the kidnapping was complete. "We have everything we need," Detective Williams said. "I'm bringing my team to your house at 6. We'll be ready." At 5 o'clock, Miss Gladys served an early dinner. Maya picked at her food, too nervous to eat. Marcus forced himself to swallow a few bites, but everything tasted like cardboard. At 6 o'clock, Detective Williams arrived with 4 plainclothes officers. She spread a diagram of the house across the dining room table. "Officer Chen will be positioned here at the corner of the property. Officer Rodriguez will be in the bushes near the back door. Officer Patterson is across the street in an unmarked car. I'll be inside the house with you." "What about Maya?" Marcus asked. "Maya stays in the study on the first floor. It's the safest room in the house, no windows facing the back. If anything goes wrong, there's a direct path to the front door." Marcus nodded. "And me? You stay with Maya. No matter what you hear, no matter what happens, you do not leave that room. Understood?" "Understood." Detective Williams looked at Maya, who was listening intently. "Maya, I need you to help us tonight. Can you do that?" Maya nodded solemnly. "If anything scary happens, I want you to count. Count your breaths, just like I'm going to teach you. 1, 2, 3, all the way to 10. While you're counting, we'll be doing our job. Can you practice with me?" They practiced together. Maya counted her breaths, her small voice growing steadier with each repetition. "Perfect," Detective Williams said. "You're going to do great." At 8 o'clock, Maya called for Marcus. "Daddy, can you read to me?" They sat together on the couch in the study, a book of fairy tales open on Marcus's lap. But neither of them was really paying attention to the words. They were both listening, waiting. "Daddy." "Yes, baby." "What if they don't catch her? What if she gets away?" Marcus closed the book. "She won't get away, I promise. But what if she does? What if she comes back again and again forever?" Marcus took Maya's hands in his. "Listen to me. Even if it takes the rest of my life, I will never stop protecting you. Vanessa can run. She can hide. But she will never ever touch you again." Maya looked at him with those big brown eyes so full of trust and fear and hope. "I believe you, Daddy." At 9 o'clock, Detective Williams checked in with her team. "Everyone in position." The responses came through her earpiece. Chen was ready. Rodriguez was ready. Patterson was ready. "Now we wait," she said. At 10 o'clock, the lights in the house went dim. Maya was lying on the couch, her head in Marcus's lap. She wasn't sleeping, but she had closed her eyes. Her breathing was slow and even. Marcus stroked her hair and watched the clock on the wall. 59 minutes until 11. At 10:30, Marcus's phone buzzed. He looked at the screen. Unknown number. His heart stopped. He showed the phone to Detective Williams. She nodded and pressed a finger to her lips. Then she hit record on her own device. Marcus answered. Hello, Marcus?" Vanessa's voice slithered through the speaker. "Miss me." Marcus's grip tightened on the phone. "What do you want?" "Straight to business. I always liked that about you." She laughed cold and hollow. "I want what's mine, Marcus. I gave you 2 years of my life. I played the perfect assistant. I played the perfect wife. And you threw me away like garbage. You abused my daughter. I disciplined her. There's a difference. Not that it matters now." Her voice hardened. "Here's what's going to happen. In about 30 minutes, some friends of mine are going to pay you a visit. They're going to take Maya, and if you ever want to see her again, you're going to give me $2 million. Marcus felt Maya stir in his lap. She was awake now, listening. He put his hand on her shoulder, keeping her still. "And if I refuse, then you'll never see your precious daughter again? Simple as that." "Vanessa, listen to me. Whatever you're planning, it's not going to work. The police are already involved. They know everything." There was a long pause. Then Vanessa laughed again. "Nice try, Marcus, but I know you. You would never risk Maya's safety by involving the cops. You're bluffing." "I'm not." "It doesn't matter. By the time anyone figures out what happened, we'll be long gone. Say goodbye to your daughter, Marcus. This is the last night you'll spend together." The line went dead. Maya sat up, her face pale. "She's really coming." "Yes," Marcus pulled her close. "But we're ready." At exactly 11 p.m., Detective Williams' earpiece crackled. "Movement at the back fence. One male climbing over." "Copy that. Hold positions. Let him get inside." Marcus held Maya tighter. He could feel her trembling against him. He bent down and whispered in her ear, "Start counting baby, just like we practiced." Maya closed her eyes. 1, 2, 3. Outside, Derek Hayes landed softly on the lawn. He moved like a shadow, keeping low heading for the back door. In his hand was a cloth soaked in chloroform. In his pocket was a knife. He reached the back door. The lock was flimsy, just like Vanessa had promised. He had it open in seconds. He stepped inside. The house was dark, quiet, perfect. He pulled out his phone and sent a text to Vanessa. "I'm in. Where's the kid?" The response came immediately. "Second floor, left side. Hurry." Derek started up the stairs. In the study, Maya had reached 10. 4, 5, 6. Detective Williams held up her hand. "Wait." 7, 8. Rodriguez's voice crackled through the earpiece. "He's inside, moving upstairs." "Copy. Let him reach the bedroom. I want him committed before we move." 9, 10. Maya opened her eyes. "Did it work? Is it over?" "Not yet, baby. Keep counting." Derek reached the top of the stairs. He moved down the hallway, checking each door. The first room was empty. The second was a bathroom. The third door was slightly ajar. A nightlight glowed from inside. A small bed was visible, blankets mounted in the shape of a sleeping child. Derek smiled. He pushed the door open and lunged toward the bed. Chloroform cloth extended. His hands closed around the blankets. They were stuffed with pillows. "What the—" The lights exploded on. Detective Williams's voice thundered from the hallway. "Police, don't move!" Derek spun around. 2 officers stood in the doorway, weapons drawn. Behind them, Detective Williams stepped forward, her badge gleaming. "Derek Hayes, you're under arrest for attempted kidnapping, breaking and entering, and conspiracy. Get on the ground, now!" Derek's eyes darted around the room, searching for an escape. There was none. "On the ground." Slowly, Derek lowered himself to his knees. His hands went behind his head. "Where's the kid?" he snarled. "Vanessa said she'd be here." "Sorry to disappoint you." Detective Williams cuffed him with practiced efficiency. "Take him out." 2 blocks away, Tanya Brooks was sitting in the getaway car when she saw the police lights. Blue and red flashing in her rearview mirror. She fumbled for the ignition, but it was too late. Officer Patterson was already at her window, gun drawn. "Step out of the vehicle. Hands where I can see them." Tanya's face crumpled. "I want a lawyer. I want to make a deal." "You can make all the deals you want downtown. Out of the car, now." Half a mile away, Vanessa Cole was pacing in a parking lot watching her phone. Where was Derek's confirmation? He should have had Maya by now. The whole thing should have taken 5 minutes. Her phone buzzed. Finally. She looked at the screen. It wasn't Derek. It was a text from an unknown number. "We have your friends. Your turn next." Vanessa's blood turned to ice. She ran for her car keys already in her hand. She would disappear. Change her name. Start over somewhere far away. Mexico, Canada, anywhere but here. She yanked open the car door. Going somewhere. Detective Williams stepped out of the shadows, flanked by 2 officers. Vanessa stumbled backward. How did you find me? Did you really think we wouldn't track your phone? The moment you called Marcus, we had your location." "I didn't do anything, Derek and Tanya. They planned everything. I was just—" "Save it for court." Detective Williams nodded to the officers. Victoria Cole, you're under arrest for conspiracy to kidnap a minor, child abuse, and child endangerment. You have the right to remain silent. Vanessa screamed as the handcuffs closed around her wrists. You can't do this. Marcus will pay for this. That little brat will pay. The only one paying tonight is you. Detective Williams stepped close, her voice dropping to a whisper. I've put away a lot of people in my career, but you hurt a child. You tortured a 7-year-old girl because you were jealous of her dead mother. I'm going to make sure you never see daylight again. Vanessa was still screaming as they loaded her into the patrol car. Back at the house, Marcus heard the sirens approaching. He looked at Detective Williams' partner, who had stayed with them in the study. Is it over? The officer listened to his earpiece, then nodded. They got all 3 of them. It's over. Marcus let out a breath he felt like he had been holding for months. Maya looked up at him with wide eyes. Daddy, did they catch her? Yes, baby. Marcus's voice broke. They caught her. She's going to jail. She's never coming back. Maya threw her arms around his neck and burst into tears. But these were different tears. These were tears of relief, of release, of a nightmare finally ending. Marcus held her and cried too. They were still holding each other when Detective Williams returned. 30 minutes later, her face was tired but triumphant. All 3 suspects are in custody. They'll be processed tonight and arraigned tomorrow morning. Marcus stood up, Maya still clinging to him. Thank you. I don't know how to thank you enough. You don't have to thank me. Detective Williams looked at Maya. Hey, superstar, you did amazing tonight. That counting really worked, didn't it? Maya peeked out from her father's shoulder. I got to 10 4 times. 4 times? That's incredible. Detective Williams smiled. You know what that makes you? What? A hero. You helped us catch 3 very bad people tonight. You should be proud of yourself. Maya's face lit up with something Marcus hadn't seen in months. Pride. Real, genuine pride. Miss Gladys appeared in the doorway, tears streaming down her face. Is it true? Is it really over? It's over, Marcus confirmed. Thanks to Detective Williams and her team. Miss Gladys rushed forward and wrapped both Marcus and Maya in a fierce hug. Oh, thank God, thank God. Denise is smiling down from heaven right now. I just know it. At the mention of her mother's name, Maya lifted her head. Daddy, do you think Mama was watching tonight? Do you think she helped protect us? Marcus thought about the strange feeling that had called him home from San Francisco, the instinct that had told him something was wrong, the force that had pushed him to finally see the truth. Yes, baby, I think she was watching the whole time. It was nearly 2 a.m. when the house finally fell quiet. The police had gone. Miss Gladys had reluctantly headed home. Maya was asleep in Marcus's bed, refusing to let go of his hand even in her dreams. Marcus lay awake in the darkness, staring at the ceiling. It was over. The nightmare was finally over. But he knew the healing was just beginning. Maya had been through something no child should ever experience. There would be therapy, there would be setbacks, there would be nights when the fear came back and the memories overwhelmed her. But they would face it together. Marcus turned his head to look at his sleeping daughter. Her face was peaceful, her breathing was steady. She looked younger somehow, like the weight of the past 6 months had lifted, even if just for one night. He reached out and gently brushed a curl from her forehead. I love you, Maya, he whispered, more than anything in this world, and I'm going to spend every day for the rest of my life making sure you know it. Maya stirred slightly, her fingers tightened around his hand, and even in her sleep she smiled. The next morning, Marcus woke to sunlight streaming through the windows and the sound of birds singing outside. For the first time in weeks, he didn't wake up with dread in his chest. Maya was still asleep beside him, her teddy bear tucked under her chin. He watched her for a long moment, memorizing the peace on her face. Then he slipped out of bed, careful not to wake her, and went downstairs to make breakfast. He was cracking eggs into a bowl when his phone rang. Mr. Johnson, this is District Attorney Rebecca Chen. I wanted to inform you personally that all 3 suspects have been charged. Vanessa Cole is facing 15 to 20 years. Derek Hayes and Tanya Brooks are looking at similar sentences. Marcus closed his eyes. Thank you. There's something else. Given the severity of the charges and the evidence we have, none of them will be granted bail. They'll remain in custody until trial. When is the trial? Probably 4 to 6 months from now. Maya will likely need to testify, but we'll do everything we can to make the process as gentle as possible for her. Marcus's jaw tightened. She's been through enough. I understand. We'll work with victim advocates to prepare her, and Mr. Johnson. What you did protecting your daughter, not giving in to their demands that took courage. Maya is lucky to have you." Marcus looked toward the stairs where he could hear small footsteps approaching. "No," he said quietly. "I'm the lucky one." Maya appeared in the kitchen doorway, rubbing her eyes. "Daddy, are you making pancakes?" Marcus smiled, the first real smile he had felt in months. "I'm trying to, but I could use some help. What do you say?" Maya's face broke into a grin. She ran across the kitchen and climbed onto the step stool beside him. "Miss Gladys taught me a secret," she said, reaching for the mixing bowl. "You have to add a little bit of vanilla. That's what makes them taste like Mama's." Marcus watched his daughter stir the batter, her small tongue poking out in concentration. The sun was shining. The house was quiet. And somewhere Marcus knew Denise was smiling down on them both. It wasn't perfect, it would never be perfect. But it was a beginning, and for the first time in a very long time, Marcus believed in beginnings again. 3 weeks after the failed kidnapping, Marcus sat in a small waiting room at the Fulton County Courthouse. Maya was beside him, wearing a pale blue dress that Miss Gladys had picked out for her. Her hair was braided neatly, tied with ribbons that matched her outfit. She looked older somehow, more serious. The kind of serious that no 7-year-old should ever have to be. "Daddy, my stomach hurts." Marcus put his arm around her. "Mine too, baby." "What if I forget what to say? What if I mess up?" "You won't mess up. All you have to do is tell the truth. That's it. Just tell them what happened." "But what if Vanessa gets mad at me?" Marcus turned Maya's face toward his. "Look at me. Vanessa can't hurt you anymore. She's locked up. She can't touch you. She can't even come near you. And today, after you tell the judge what she did, she's going to be locked up for a very, very long time." Maya's eyes were wide and frightened. "Will I have to look at her?" "Probably, but I'll be right there. And Miss Gladys will be there. And Detective Williams. You're not alone, Maya. You'll never be alone again." The door opened. A woman in a dark suit stepped in. She was in her 40s, with sharp eyes and a kind smile. "Mr. Johnson, Maya, I'm Rebecca Chen, the district attorney. We spoke on the phone." Marcus stood and shook her hand. "Thank you for meeting with us." "Of course, Chanel." Rebecca knelt down to Maya's level. "Hi there, sweetheart. Are you ready for today?" Maya shook her head. "Not really." "That's okay. Being nervous is normal, but I want you to know something. You are the bravest little girl I've ever met. What you're doing today is going to help a lot of other kids. Kids who might have been hurt by people like Vanessa. Your voice matters, Maya. Never forget that." Maya looked at her father, then back at Rebecca. "Will you be there too?" "I'll be right beside you the whole time. And if you need a break, we'll take a break. If you need water, we'll get water. Whatever you need. Okay?" Maya took a deep breath. "Okay." Rebecca stood up and checked her watch. "We have about 30 minutes before we're called. Let me walk you through what's going to happen." She explained the process in simple terms. Maya would sit in a special chair designed for child witnesses. She would answer questions from Rebecca first, then from Vanessa's lawyer. She should speak clearly, tell the truth, and ask for clarification if she didn't understand something. "One more thing," Rebecca added. "Vanessa's lawyer might try to confuse you or make you feel like you did something wrong. That's his job. But remember, nothing that happened was your fault. You were a child. You are a child. The adults were supposed to protect you, and they failed. That's on them, not you." Maya nodded slowly. "I understand." "Good girl." At exactly 9 o'clock, they were called into the courtroom. Marcus's heart hammered as they walked through the heavy wooden doors. The room was larger than he expected, filled with people he didn't recognize. Reporters, legal assistants, curious observers who had come to watch the trial of the decade. At the defendant's table, Vanessa Cole sat between two guards. She was wearing an orange jumpsuit, her hair pulled back in a severe ponytail. Without her designer clothes and perfect makeup, she looked older, harder, meaner. Her eyes locked onto Maya the moment the little girl entered. Maya froze. Marcus felt her hand tighten around his. He bent down and whispered in her ear. "Don't look at her. Look at me. Look at the judge. Look at Miss Rebecca, but not at her. She doesn't deserve your attention." Maya nodded and kept her eyes forward as they took their seats in the front row. The judge entered. Patricia Coleman. She was in her 60s with silver hair and a face that had seen everything. She took her seat and surveyed the courtroom with sharp, intelligent eyes. "We are here today for the trial of Vanessa Cole Derrick Hayes and Tanya Brooks on charges of conspiracy to kidnap a minor child abuse, child endangerment, and attempted extortion." She looked at the defendants. "How do you plead?" Vanessa's lawyer stood. "Not guilty, Your Honor." Marcus felt his jaw tighten. Of course she pleaded not guilty. Even now, even with all the evidence against her, she refused to take responsibility. Judge Coleman nodded. Very well. Ms. Chen, you may call your first witness. Rebecca stood. The prosecution calls Detective Keisha Williams. Detective Williams walked to the witness stand with the confidence of someone who had done this 100 times before. She was sworn in, then turned to face the jury. Rebecca began her questioning. Detective Williams, can you describe how you became involved in this case? I received a call from Child Protective Services on October 15th. A neighbor had reported suspected child abuse at the Johnson residence. I began an immediate investigation. And what did you find? I found a 7-year-old child with injuries consistent with prolonged physical abuse, cuts on her hands from broken glass, wounds on her knees from being forced to kneel on uncooked rice, bruises on her arm from being grabbed, psychological trauma from months of verbal and emotional abuse. A murmur rippled through the courtroom. Marcus felt Maya press closer to him. Did you speak with the child directly? Yes, Maya Johnson gave a detailed account of the abuse she had suffered at the hands of her stepmother, Vanessa Cole. She described being locked in the basement without food or water, being forced to do hours of manual labor while Mrs. Cole watched television, being told that her dead mother had abandoned her because she was unlovable. Objection, Vanessa's lawyer shot to his feet. Hearsay. It's not hearsay if the child is available to testify, Rebecca countered smoothly. Judge Coleman nodded. Overruled. Continue, Detective. Detective Williams went on to describe the investigation, the discovery of the kidnapping plot, and the arrest of all 3 defendants. She presented evidence. Phone records, text messages, the burner phones used to coordinate the plan, the chloroform found in Derek's pocket, the ransom note drafted on Tanya's laptop. By the time she finished, the jury looked horrified. Vanessa's lawyer tried to poke holes in the testimony during cross-examination, suggesting that Maya had exaggerated her injuries, that the kidnapping plan was never serious, that his client was simply a strict stepmother who had been vilified by an ungrateful child. Detective Williams shut him down with cold precision. Mr. Harrison. I've been investigating child abuse for 12 years. I have seen children with broken bones whose parents claimed they fell down the stairs. I have seen children burned with cigarettes whose caregivers said it was an accident. And I have seen the look in a child's eyes when they have been systematically terrorized by someone who was supposed to love them. Maya Johnson had that look, and the evidence supports every single word of her testimony. Mr. Harrison sat down without further questions. At 11 o'clock, Rebecca called her second witness. The prosecution calls Miss Gladys Turner. Miss Gladys walked to the stand, her silver hair gleaming under the courtroom lights. She had dressed in her Sunday best, a navy blue dress with a pearl necklace that had belonged to her mother. Miss Turner, can you describe your relationship to the Johnson family? I've been their neighbor for 35 years. I knew Marcus's first wife, Denise, since she was a child. I was her 3rd grade teacher. When she died, I promised her I would watch over little Maya. And did you keep that promise? Miss Gladys's eyes filled with tears. I tried, but for 6 months I stayed silent when I should have spoken up. I saw things through my kitchen window. Terrible things, and I told myself it wasn't my place to interfere. What did you see? I saw Maya standing outside in the rain for hours. I saw her kneeling in the backyard scrubbing the patio while Vanessa watched from inside. I saw bruises on her arms that no child should have. And one day I heard her screaming, begging, crying that she couldn't take it anymore. What did you do? I called Child Protective Services. I should have done it months earlier. I will never forgive myself for waiting so long. Rebecca let the words hang in the air. Then she asked, Miss Turner, did you know Vanessa Cole before she married Marcus Johnson? No, but I could see what kind of woman she was. Cold. Calculating. She smiled when Marcus was watching and turned cruel the moment his back was turned. Objection. Speculation. I'll rephrase. Rebecca leaned forward. Miss Turner, what specifically did you observe about Mrs. Cole's behavior toward Maya when Mr. Johnson was not present? I saw her drag Maya by the hair across the backyard. I saw her slap the child so hard she fell down, and I heard her tell Maya that her mother had died to get away from her. A gasp rippled through the jury box. Miss Gladys looked directly at Vanessa. That woman is a monster, and she deserves to spend the rest of her life behind bars. Vanessa's face contorted with rage. She started to rise from her seat, but the guards pushed her back down. Order! Judge Coleman banged her gavel. Mrs. Cole, you will remain seated and silent, or you will be removed from this courtroom. Vanessa's lawyer did his best during cross-examination, but Miss Gladys was unshakable. She had seen what she had seen. She had heard what she had heard, and no amount of legal maneuvering could change that. At 1 o'clock, the court broke for lunch. Marcus took Maya to a quiet room reserved for witnesses. Rebecca had arranged for sandwiches and juice, but Maya didn't touch her food. "I can't eat, Daddy. I feel like I'm going to throw up." "I know, baby, I know." Marcus rubbed her back gently. "You're up next. After this, it's almost over." "What if they don't believe me?" "They'll believe you because you're telling the truth." "But what if Vanessa's lawyer makes me look like a liar?" Marcus took Maya's hands in his. "Listen to me. That man's job is to defend Vanessa. He's going to try to twist your words and confuse you. But you know what really happened. You lived it. All you have to do is tell your story. The truth is stronger than any lie he can come up with." Maya took a shaky breath. "Will you be proud of me?" Marcus felt his heart crack. "Maya, I am already proud of you. I have been proud of you since the day you were born. Nothing that happens in that courtroom will ever change that." Maya nodded. She picked up half of her sandwich and took a small bite. It was a start. At 2 o'clock, court resumed. Rebecca stood. "The prosecution calls Maya Johnson." The courtroom went silent. Maya walked to the witness stand with her head held high. Her steps were slow but steady. When she reached the chair, she had to climb up because her feet didn't touch the ground. Marcus watched his daughter adjust the microphone, her small hands trembling slightly. He wanted to run to her to scoop her up and carry her away from this place. But he knew she needed to do this. For herself. For her healing. For justice. Rebecca approached with a gentle smile. "Hi, Maya. Do you remember me?" "Yes, ma'am. You're Miss Rebecca." "That's right. I'm going to ask you some questions, okay? Just answer as best you can, and if you need a break at any time, just say so." "Okay." "Maya, can you tell us about your stepmother, Vanessa?" Maya's eyes flickered toward the defendant's table, then quickly away. "She was mean to me when Daddy wasn't home." "How was she mean?" "She yelled at me a lot. She called me names. She said I was a burden. She said my mama died because she didn't love me enough to stay." Rebecca paused, letting the words sink in. "Did she ever hurt you physically?" "Yes." "Can you tell us about one of those times?" Maya took a deep breath. "One day I dropped a glass. It was an accident. I was trying to make breakfast to surprise her, but she got really mad. She made me kneel on rice." "Kneel on rice?" "Yes. She poured rice on the floor and made me kneel on it. It hurt really bad. My knees started bleeding. I asked her to stop, but she said I needed to learn a lesson." "How long did she make you kneel?" "I don't know. It felt like forever. Maybe an hour, maybe 2. I couldn't tell because there was no clock in the laundry room." "The laundry room. That's where she punished me. She locked me in there. She said if I made any noise, she would leave me there all night." Rebecca walked to the evidence table and picked up a photograph. "Maya, I'm going to show you a picture. Can you tell me what this is?" Maya looked at the photograph. Her face went pale. "That's my knees, after the rice." "Your Honor, the prosecution submits this photograph as Exhibit C, documented evidence of injuries sustained by Maya Johnson on October 15th. Judge Coleman nodded. "So noted." Rebecca continued. "Maya, did you ever try to tell your father what Vanessa was doing to you?" "Yes, one time. He was home for the weekend, and I went to his office to tell him." "What happened?" "Vanessa came in. She told Daddy that I was being difficult and needed therapy. Daddy believed her." Maya's voice cracked. "After he left for his trip, Vanessa came to my room. She said if I ever tried to tell anyone again, she would make my life even worse." "Were you afraid of her?" "Yes, every day. I was so scared. I didn't know what to do. I thought maybe she was right. Maybe I was unlovable. Maybe that's why Mama left. Maybe that's why Daddy was never home." Marcus felt tears streaming down his face. He didn't try to wipe them away. Rebecca's voice softened. "Maya, do you believe that now?" Maya was quiet for a long moment. Then she looked up. Her eyes finding her father's in the crowd. "No, I know my mama loved me. I know my daddy loves me. Vanessa lied. She tried to make me believe I was nothing, but I'm not nothing. I'm Maya Johnson, and I deserve to be loved." The courtroom was absolutely silent. Even the reporters had stopped writing. Rebecca smiled. "No further questions, Your Honor." Judge Coleman looked at the defense table. "Mr. Harrison, your witness?" Vanessa's lawyer stood slowly. He was a tall man with slicked back hair and cold eyes. He walked toward Maya like a shark circling its prey. Maya, isn't it true that you often misbehaved at home? I tried to be good. But you weren't always good, were you? You broke things. You made messes. You required discipline. I was just a kid. I made mistakes. And isn't it possible that what you're calling abuse was simply your stepmother trying to teach you right from wrong? She made me bleed. Children get hurt all the time. Scraped knees, cuts, bruises. That doesn't mean she told me my mother died because she didn't love me. Maya's voice rose steady and strong. That's not discipline. That's being cruel. Mr. Harrison faltered for just a second. Then he pressed on. Maya, did your father ever actually see Mrs. Cole hurt you? No, she was careful. She only did it when he was gone. So it's your word against hers. I have scars on my knees. Miss Gladys saw things. Detective Williams found evidence. It's not just my word. Mr. Harrison's face tightened. Maya, isn't it true that you were jealous of your stepmother, that you wanted to get rid of her so you could have your father all to yourself? Objection. Rebecca shot to her feet. Counsel is badgering the witness. Sustained. Mr. Harrison, watch yourself. Mr. Harrison took a breath. No further questions. Maya stepped down from the witness stand. She walked straight to Marcus and collapsed into his arms. Did I do okay, Daddy? You did more than okay. Marcus held her tight. You were perfect. I am so proud of you. The prosecution rested its case at 4 o'clock. The defense called only one witness, Vanessa herself. She walked to the stand with her head held high, her face carefully composed. She had clearly been coached on how to appear sympathetic, remorseful, human, but Marcus could see the coldness in her eyes. The jury could see it too. Mr. Harrison led her through her testimony. She painted herself as a loving stepmother who had been overwhelmed by a difficult child. She claimed Maya was prone to tantrums, to lying, to exaggerating injuries for attention. She said the kidnapping plot was all Derek and Tanya's idea, that she had been manipulated, that she never intended to actually hurt anyone. I loved Maya, she said, her voice trembling with false emotion. I only wanted what was best for her. I may have been strict, but I was never cruel. Rebecca's cross-examination was devastating. Mrs. Cole, you claim you loved Maya, is that correct? Yes? Then can you explain this text message you sent to Derek Hayes on October 18th? Rebecca held up a printed page. Quote, I want to see the look on her face when she realizes her daddy can't save her. End quote. Vanessa's face went pale. I was angry. I didn't mean it. You didn't mean that you wanted to see a 7-year-old child's terror. It was just words. Just words. Like the words you used to tell Maya that her mother died to get away from her. I never said that. We have a witness who heard you say exactly that. We have Maya's testimony. We have documented evidence of the injuries you inflicted, and we have your own text messages planning to kidnap a child for ransom. Rebecca stepped closer. Mrs. Cole, at what point do the just words become crimes? Vanessa had no answer. No further questions. Closing arguments took an hour. Rebecca spoke about the sacred duty of adults to protect children, about the betrayal of trust that Vanessa had committed, about the trauma that Maya would carry for the rest of her life. This little girl, Rebecca said, pointing to Maya, came into this courtroom today and told you her truth. She told you about the rice, the basement, the threats, the lies. She told you about being made to feel worthless by the one person who was supposed to love her. And she did it with courage and grace that most adults couldn't muster. She turned to the jury. Maya Johnson deserves justice. She deserves to know that the people who hurt her, who terrorized her, who planned to steal her away from her father, will pay for their crimes. She deserves to sleep at night without fear. She deserves to grow up knowing that the world protected her when she couldn't protect herself. Rebecca's voice dropped. Give her that peace. Give her that justice. Find these defendants guilty. Mr. Harrison's closing was weak. He tried to paint Vanessa as a scapegoat, Derek and Tanya as the real masterminds. He suggested that Maya was unreliable, that the evidence was circumstantial, that reasonable doubt existed. But his words fell flat. The jury had seen the photographs. They had heard the testimony. They had looked into Maya's eyes and seen the truth. At 7 p.m., the jury retired to deliberate. Marcus took Maya home. Miss Gladys was waiting with hot soup and fresh bread. Detective Williams stopped by to check on them. You did amazing today, she told Maya. Both of you. How long will the jury take? Marcus asked. Hard to say. Could be hours, could be days, but based on what I saw in that courtroom, I don't think it'll take long. She was right. At 9 o'clock the next morning, the phone rang. Mr. Johnson, the jury has reached a verdict. We need you at the courthouse in 1 hour. Marcus's heart stopped. Already? A quick verdict is usually a good sign. It means the jury wasn't conflicted. Maya came downstairs in her pajamas, rubbing her eyes. What's happening? They made a decision, baby. We need to go back to the courthouse. Maya's face went pale. Right now? Right now. They dressed quickly and drove downtown. Miss Gladys met them at the courthouse steps. Detective Williams was already inside. The courtroom was packed. Word had spread about the quick verdict. Everyone wanted to see how this would end. Marcus held Maya's hand as they took their seats. His heart was pounding so hard he could feel it in his throat. Judge Coleman entered. The jury filed in. No one looked at the defendants. Another good sign. Has the jury reached a verdict? The foreman stood. We have, Your Honor. On the charge of conspiracy to kidnap a minor, how do you find the defendant, Vanessa Cole? Guilty. A wave of relief crashed over Marcus. On the charge of child abuse, guilty. On the charge of child endangerment, guilty. On the charge of attempted extortion, guilty. Maya squeezed Marcus's hand. Tears were streaming down her face. The verdicts for Derek Hayes and Tanya Brooks were the same. Guilty on all counts. Judge Coleman thanked the jury, then turned to the defendants. Sentencing will take place in 2 weeks. However, given the severity of these crimes and the overwhelming evidence of guilt, I am remanding all 3 defendants to custody without bail. She looked directly at Vanessa. Mrs. Cole, you were entrusted with the care of a child. You betrayed that trust in the most horrific way imaginable. You abused a little girl. You terrorized her. You tried to have her kidnapped. I have been on this bench for 22 years, and I have rarely seen such calculated cruelty. Vanessa's face crumpled. For the first time, she looked truly afraid. This court will see that justice is served. Judge Coleman banged her gavel. Court is adjourned. The guards moved to take the defendants away. Vanessa turned one last time, her eyes finding Maya in the crowd. This isn't over, she hissed. This will never be over. Maya stood up straight. She looked Vanessa directly in the eye. Yes, it is, she said. Her voice was small, but steady. Goodbye, Vanessa. The guards pulled Vanessa through the side door. Her screams echoed down the hallway until they faded into nothing. Maya turned to her father. Daddy, can we go home now? Yes, baby. Marcus lifted her into his arms. Let's go home. 2 weeks later, they returned for sentencing. Vanessa Cole received 18 years. Derek Hayes received 20. Tanya Brooks received 12 in exchange for her cooperation with the investigation. As the final gavel fell, Marcus felt something shift inside him. A weight he had been carrying for months, maybe years, finally lifted. It was over. Justice had been served. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed around them, shouting questions, snapping photographs. Detective Williams and 2 officers cleared a path to their car. Mr. Johnson, how does it feel to see justice served? Marcus paused. He looked at Maya, who was holding his hand tightly. Then he looked at the cameras. Today my daughter got to see that the world will protect her, that when bad people do bad things, they face consequences. That's what justice means. Not revenge, not anger, just the simple truth that her voice mattered, that she mattered. He looked down at Maya. Come on, baby, let's go home. That night, Marcus tucked Maya into bed. Daddy? Yes, sweetheart. Is it really over? She's really not coming back. She's really not coming back. She's going to be in prison for a very long time. Maya was quiet for a moment. Then she asked, Do you think Mama knows? Do you think she saw what happened today? Marcus smiled, his eyes wet with tears. I think your mama has been watching over you this whole time, and I think she's very, very proud of you. Maya snuggled deeper under her covers. I'm glad. I want to make her proud. You already do, baby, every single day. Marcus kissed her forehead, turned off the light, and walked to the door. Daddy? Yes. Thank you for coming home. Thank you for believing me. Thank you for fighting for me. Marcus's voice caught in his throat. Thank you for being brave enough to let me. He closed the door softly and stood in the hallway, tears streaming down his face. The nightmare was over. But the healing was just beginning. 6 months passed like water through open fingers. Maya started therapy 3 days after the sentencing. Her therapist was Dr. Amara Okonkwo, a black woman in her late 40s, with warm eyes and a voice that made you feel like everything would be okay. Their first session, Maya refused to speak. She sat on the couch in Dr. Okonkwo's office, clutching her teddy bear, staring at the floor. Marcus watched through the window, his heart breaking all over again. "She's been through severe trauma," Dr. Okonkwo told him afterward. "It's going to take time. There will be good days and bad days. The important thing is that she knows she's safe, she's loved, and she's not alone." "How long until she's okay?" Dr. Okonkwo looked at him with gentle honesty. "Mr. Johnson, your daughter may never be okay in the way you're hoping. What happened to her will always be part of her story. But with time, with support, with love, she can learn to carry it without letting it define her." Marcus swallowed hard. "What can I do? Be there, be consistent, keep your promises, and be patient with yourself too. You're healing from this just as much as she is." The second session, Maya drew a picture. A small black girl standing in a dark room, surrounded by shadows. No light anywhere. The third session, she drew the same girl, but this time there was a tiny window in the corner. The fourth session, she spoke. "I have nightmares," she whispers. So quiet, Dr. Okonkwo had to lean in to hear. "Every night. Vanessa is there. She's telling me my mama died because of me. She's making me kneel on the rice, and I wake up and my knees hurt even though nothing is there." "That's your body remembering the trauma," Dr. Okonkwo explained gently. "It's called a somatic response. Your mind knows you're safe, but your body is still learning." "Will it ever stop?" "Yes, I promise you it will get better, but we have to give your body time to catch up with your mind." Maya looked at her teddy bear, then back at the doctor. "Vanessa said nobody would ever love me. She said I was a burden." "Do you believe that?" Maya was quiet for a long time. "Sometimes, when the nightmares are really bad, when I wake up and I'm all alone in the dark, that's when I believe her. And other times I remember what my daddy said, that he loves me more than anything, that he'll burn down the whole world for me." Maya's voice cracked. "I want to believe him, I really do, but it's hard." Dr. Okonkwo reached out and took Maya's hand. "Maya, healing isn't a straight line. Some days you'll feel strong. Other days you'll feel like you're right back where you started. Both of those are okay. What matters is that you keep going." Maya squeezed her hand. "Will you help me?" "Every step of the way." By the 3-month mark, the nightmares started coming less frequently. By 6 months, Maya could sleep through the night more often than not. By 1 year, she had filled 3 journals with her thoughts, her fears, her hopes. Dr. Okonkwo called it narrative therapy. Maya called it talking to herself on paper. "It helps," she told Marcus one evening, showing him her latest entry. "When I write things down, they feel less scary, like I'm taking them out of my head and putting them somewhere else." Marcus read the page. In Maya's careful handwriting, she had written, "Today I felt sad because I saw a woman who looked like Vanessa at the grocery store. My heart started beating really fast and I wanted to run away. But then Daddy held my hand and reminded me that I was safe. The woman walked past us and didn't even look at me. She wasn't Vanessa. Vanessa is in prison. She can't hurt me anymore. I am safe. I am loved. I am brave." Marcus's eyes burned with tears. "This is beautiful, baby. Dr. Okonkwo taught me that when I get scared, I should write down what's real, what's actually true, not what my brain tells me when it's afraid." "That's really smart." Maya nodded seriously. "My brain lies to me sometimes. It tells me bad things are going to happen, but I'm learning not to believe everything it says." Marcus pulled her into a hug. "I'm so proud of you." "Daddy?" "Yes." "I think I want to help other kids someday. Kids who went through what I went through, so they don't feel so alone." Marcus felt his heart swell. "I think that's the best idea I've ever heard." That conversation planted a seed. Over the next few months, Marcus started making plans. He met with lawyers, financial advisors, nonprofit consultants. He talked to Detective Williams, to Dr. Okonkwo, to Miss Gladys. He researched organizations that helped abused children and studied what they did well and what they were missing. And then, on the 1-year anniversary of Maya's rescue, he made an announcement. "I'm starting a foundation." They were sitting at the kitchen table. Maya was doing her homework. Miss Gladys was making tea. The late afternoon sun streamed through the windows. "What kind of foundation?" Maya asked. "A foundation to help kids like you, kids who have been hurt by the people who were supposed to protect them. We're going to call it the Light Foundation." Maya's eyes widened. "The Light Foundation? Because that's what you taught me, baby, that even in the darkest places, there's always a light. Sometimes you just need someone to help you find it. Miss Gladys set down her tea and reached for Marcus's hand. Denise would be so proud of you. I hope so. I'm doing this for her as much as for Maya. She always said we were supposed to use what we have to help others. I spent too many years forgetting that. Maya put down her pencil. Can I help? I was hoping you'd ask. I want you to be part of this, Maya. I want you to help me design programs to talk to other kids who have been through what you went through. Your voice matters. Your story matters. But what if I say the wrong thing? What if I make things worse? You won't, because you know what it feels like. You know the fear, the shame, the loneliness, and you know how to get through it. That's what these kids need to see, not some perfect person who never struggled. They need to see someone who understands. Maya was quiet for a long moment. Then she looked up at her father with those big brown eyes that reminded him so much of Denise. Okay, I'll do it. The Light Foundation officially launched 6 months later. It started small. A hotline for children to call if they were being abused. A partnership with local schools to teach kids about recognizing the signs of abuse and speaking up. A fund to provide therapy for children whose families couldn't afford it. Detective Williams joined as an advisor. Dr. Okonkwo ran the therapy program. Miss Gladys organized community events and fundraisers. And Maya became the heart of it all. At first she was shy, speaking to groups of adults, sharing her story, answering questions about the worst time in her life. But as the months went by, something changed. Maya found her voice. And when she spoke, people listened. When I was 7, my stepmother hurt me every day for 6 months. She told a room full of donors at their first gala. She told me I was unlovable. She told me my mother died to get away from me. She made me believe that nobody would ever care about me. The room was absolutely silent. But she was wrong. My daddy came home. Miss Gladys called for help. Detective Williams protected me. Dr. Okonkwo taught me how to heal. I am standing here today because people chose to see me. People chose to believe me. People chose to fight for me. She paused, looking out at the crowd. Every child deserves that. Every child deserves to be seen, to be believed, to be fought for. That's what the Light Foundation is about. Not just rescuing kids from bad situations, but showing them that they matter, that their lives have value, that no matter how dark things get, there is always, always a light waiting for them. The applause was thunderous. Marcus stood in the back of the room, tears streaming down his face. Miss Gladys was beside him, clutching his arm, crying just as hard. She's extraordinary, Miss Gladys whispered. She gets it from her mother. 3 years after Vanessa's conviction, Maya Johnson was 10 years old. She had grown taller, her hair now worn in long braids that Miss Gladys taught her to do herself. She was still quiet, still thoughtful, but there was a strength in her now that hadn't been there before. A quiet confidence that came from surviving the unsurvivable. The nightmares still came sometimes. Bad days still happened. But they were fewer now, and Maya had learned how to ride them out. She had tools. She had support. She had love. On a Saturday morning in October, exactly 3 years after her father had come home and changed everything, Maya sat in the kitchen making pancakes. More vanilla, she reminded herself, adding a splash to the batter. That's the secret. Marcus came downstairs, drawn by the smell. You're up early. I wanted to make breakfast. Do you know what today is? Marcus paused. He did know. October 15th. The anniversary of the day he had walked through that door and found his daughter broken and bleeding and praying for someone to save her. I know. I've been thinking about it all week, Maya said, stirring the batter. 3 years ago, I thought my life was over. I thought nobody loved me. I thought I would never be happy again. And now? Maya looked up at him, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. Now I know different. She poured batter onto the griddle, watching it sizzle. Daddy, can I tell you something? Anything. I used to hate this house. Every room reminded me of something bad. The laundry room where she made me kneel on rice, the hallway where she threw me against the wall, the kitchen where I dropped that glass. Marcus's heart clenched. I know, baby. But now when I walk through the house, I don't see those things anymore. I see you teaching me to make pancakes. I see Miss Gladys helping me with my hair. I see Dr. Okonkwo sitting with me in the living room talking about my feelings. Maya flipped the pancake perfectly. The bad memories are still there, but they're not the only memories anymore. Does that make sense? It makes perfect sense. Dr. Okonkwo calls it integration. She says the goal isn't to forget what happened. The goal is to make room for new experiences alongside the old ones, so the bad stuff doesn't take up all the space. Marcus walked over and put his arms around his daughter, resting his chin on top of her head. "When did you get so wise?" Maya laughed. "I learned from the best." "Your mother." "You, Daddy? I learned from you." They ate breakfast together, talking about everything and nothing, about school and friends and the dog they had finally gotten, a big golden retriever named Sunshine who had a talent for stealing socks. After they finished, Maya pushed her plate aside and looked at her father seriously. "Daddy, I want to do something today. Something important." "What's that?" "I want to visit the courthouse." Marcus felt his breath catch. "The courthouse? Why?" "Because that's where I told my story. That's where the jury believed me. That's where justice happened." Maya's voice was steady. "I want to go back. I want to stand in that room and remember how scared I was, and then I want to walk out and remember that I survived, that I'm still here, that she didn't break me." Marcus studied his daughter's face. There was no fear there, no hesitation, just quiet determination. "Are you sure?" "I'm sure." An hour later, they pulled into the parking lot of the Fulton County Courthouse. Maya got out of the car and stood for a moment looking up at the building. Marcus watched her, ready to leave the moment she changed her mind. But she didn't change her mind. She took his hand and they walked inside together. The security guard at the entrance recognized them. Word of the Light Foundation had spread. Maya Johnson had become something of a local hero. "Good morning, Miss Maya," the guard said with a warm smile. "Good to see you again." "Good morning, Officer Davis. Is courtroom 4 open today?" "Should be empty until this afternoon." "You want me to let you in?" "Please." They walked down the long hallway, their footsteps echoing off the marble floors. Maya's grip on Marcus's hand tightened slightly, but she didn't slow down. Officer Davis unlocked the courtroom door and stepped aside. "Take all the time you need." Maya walked in first. The room was exactly as she remembered it. The wooden benches, the raised platform where the judge sat, the witness stand where she had told her story to a room full of strangers. She walked slowly to the front, running her fingers along the wooden railing. "I was so scared," she whispered. "I thought I was going to throw up. I thought I would forget everything. I thought no one would believe me." "But they did believe you." "Yes." Maya turned to face the empty jury box. 12 strangers believed a 7-year-old girl over a grown woman. They looked at the evidence. They listened to my story, and they chose to see the truth. So, she walked to the witness stand and climbed up into the chair just like she had 3 years ago. Her feet still didn't quite reach the ground. "This is where I sat. This is where I told everyone what she did to me." Maya's voice grew stronger. "This is where I learned that my voice mattered." Marcus watched from the front row, tears streaming down his face. Maya closed her eyes. "I remember being so afraid of what Vanessa's lawyer would say. He tried to make me look like a liar. He tried to make the jury think I was just a spoiled kid who wanted attention. But it didn't work. No, because I told the truth, and the truth is stronger than any lie." She opened her eyes and looked directly at her father. "Daddy, I want to thank you." "Thank me for what?" "For coming home, for believing me, for not giving up on me even when I was so broken I didn't think I could ever be fixed." Marcus stood and walked to the witness stand. He took both of Maya's hands in his. "Maya, you were never broken. You were hurt. You were scared. You were surviving. But broken never. You are the strongest person I have ever known." "I don't feel strong." "That's what makes you strong. Real strength isn't about never being afraid. It's about being afraid and moving forward anyway. You've done that every single day for 3 years. Maya squeezed his hands. "Can I tell you a secret?" "Always." "Sometimes, when I'm having a really bad day, I come back here in my mind. I picture myself sitting in this chair telling my story. And I remind myself that if I could do that, I can do anything." Marcus pulled her into a hug. "You can do anything, baby. Anything at all." They stayed in the courtroom for another hour talking about memories both painful and beautiful. Maya told Marcus things she had never told anyone. About the nights she had cried herself to sleep. About the times she had wondered if she would ever feel normal again. About the moment she realized that healing wasn't about forgetting, but about learning to live alongside the pain. And Marcus told her things too. About his guilt for not seeing the abuse sooner. About his fear that he had failed her. About his gratitude for every single day he got to be her father. When they finally left the courthouse, the sun was high in the sky. Maya stopped at the top of the steps and turned to look back at the building. "Goodbye," she said softly. "Thank you for helping me find my voice." Then she took her father's hand and they walked into the light together. That evening they hosted a dinner at the house. Miss Gladys came bringing her famous peach cobbler. Detective Williams came wearing jeans instead of her usual work clothes. Dr. Okonkwo came with her husband and their 2 children. Even Officer Davis from the courthouse stopped by bearing a bouquet of flowers for Maya. The house was full of laughter and conversation and the smell of good food. Sunshine, the dog, ran between the guests, his tail wagging furiously, stealing bites of chicken when he thought no one was looking. After dinner, everyone gathered in the living room. Marcus stood up, clearing his throat. 3 years ago today, I made the best decision of my life. I came home. I saw my daughter, and I finally woke up to what really mattered. He looked around the room at the faces of the people who had become his family. This past 3 years hasn't been easy. There have been dark days, setbacks, moments when it felt like the healing would never come, but we got through it together. He turned to Maya, who was sitting on the couch with Miss Gladys's arm around her. "Maya, you are the bravest person I know. You have taught me more about courage, resilience, and love than I ever thought possible. I am so proud to be your father." Maya smiled, her eyes glistening with tears. "And to everyone else in this room," Marcus continued, "thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for fighting for my daughter when I wasn't there to fight for her myself. Thank you for helping us build something beautiful out of something broken." He raised his glass. "To the Light Foundation, to Second Chances, and to the little girl who taught us all that no darkness is too deep for the light to reach." Everyone raised their glasses. "To Maya." Later that night, after the guests had gone home and the dishes were done, Maya and Marcus sat on the front porch watching the stars come out. Sunshine lay at their feet, snoring softly. "Daddy." "Yes, sweetheart." "Do you remember what I asked you a long time ago about getting a dog to scare away bad people?" Marcus laughed. "I remember." "Sunshine doesn't scare anyone. He's the friendliest dog in the whole world." "That's true." Maya was quiet for a moment. "But I don't need a scary dog anymore. I don't need anything to scare away bad people. Because I know now that bad people can't really hurt me. Not in the ways that matter." "What do you mean?" Maya pulled her knees up to her chest, thinking carefully about her words. "Vanessa tried to make me believe I was worthless. She tried to break my spirit, and for a while she almost succeeded. But here's the thing I figured out." She turned to look at her father. "She could hurt my body. She could say mean things. She could lock me in basements and make me kneel on rice. But she couldn't touch the part of me that really matters. The part that knows I'm loved. The part that believes in good things. The part that my mama gave me before she went to heaven." Marcus felt tears rolling down his cheeks. "That part of me was always there," Maya continued. "Even when I couldn't feel it. Even when Vanessa's voice was louder than my own. It was just waiting. Waiting for someone to help me find it again." "And did you find it?" Maya smiled. "Yeah, I did." She leaned her head against her father's shoulder. "Daddy, I'm going to be okay. I mean, I'm already okay. But I'm going to stay okay. Whatever happens next, I can handle it. Because I know who I am now, and nobody can take that away from me." Marcus wrapped his arm around her. "No, they can't." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching the stars wheel overhead. Finally, Maya spoke again. "Daddy." "Yeah, baby." "I think Mama sent you home that day, 3 years ago. I think she heard me praying, and she sent you back to save me." Marcus thought about the strange feeling that had pulled him out of that conference room, the urgent need to get home that he couldn't explain, the certainty that something was wrong. "You know what, I think you might be right. She's still watching over us, isn't she?" "Every single day." Maya snuggled closer. "I'm glad. I like knowing she's there." "Me too, baby. Me too." The night deepened around them, but the light on the porch stayed bright. Inside the house, on the wall of the living room, hung a new painting. Maya had made it just last week, the latest in a series she had been working on for her art therapy. It showed a small black girl standing in an open doorway. Behind her was darkness, but in front of her was light. Golden, warm, infinite light. And in the light stood a woman with kind eyes and braided hair, her arms open wide. Maya had called the painting Coming Home. Below it, in her careful handwriting, she had written a single sentence: "The door is always open. The light is always on. And love never ever gives up." On the porch, Maya yawned. "I think I'm ready for bed. I'll tuck you in." They went inside together, sunshine padding along behind them. Maya climbed into bed, pulling the covers up to her chin. "Will you sing to me the song Mama used to sing?" Marcus sat on the edge of her bed and began to sing, his voice rough but full of love. "Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see." Maya's eyes drifted closed. A peaceful smile settled on her face. Marcus kept singing until her breathing deepened into sleep. Then he leaned down and kissed her forehead. "Good night, my brave girl, my strong girl, my light." He walked to the door and paused, looking back at his daughter. She was 10 years old. She had survived things no child should ever have to survive, and she had emerged not just intact, but transformed. Maya Johnson was not a victim. She was a survivor. She was a warrior. She was a light in the darkness, shining for every child who had ever felt alone, abandoned, forgotten. Marcus turned off the light and closed the door. In her sleep, Maya smiled, and somewhere watching over them both, Denise Johnson smiled too. The story of Maya Johnson did not end on that October night. It continued in the children she helped through the Light Foundation, in the speeches she gave that inspired others to speak up, in the journals she filled with her hopes and dreams, in the love she gave and received every single day. It continued in Marcus, who never again let work come before his daughter, who learned that success meant nothing without someone to share it with, who became the father Denise had always known he could be. It continued in Miss Gladys, who kept her promise to watch over Maya until her dying day, who became the grandmother Maya never had, who taught her to make pancakes and braid hair and believe in the goodness of people. It continued in Detective Williams, who went on to save countless other children, who never forgot the little girl who had testified with such courage, who kept Maya's courtroom photo on her desk as a reminder of why she did this work. It continued in Dr. Okonkwo, who watched Maya grow from a traumatized child into a confident young woman, who marveled at the resilience of the human spirit, who used Maya's story to help other children find their own light. The darkness that Vanessa Cole had brought into their lives did not disappear. It left scars. It left memories. It left nights when the old fears came creeping back. But it did not win. Because in the end, love is stronger than hate. Hope is stronger than despair. And light, no matter how small, always conquers the darkness. Maya Johnson learned that truth at 7 years old, kneeling on rice in a cold laundry room praying for someone to save her. And she spent the rest of her life teaching it to others. This is not just a story about a child who was abused. This is a story about a child who survived, who healed, who thrived, who turned her pain into purpose and her scars into strength. This is a story about the power of love, the importance of speaking up, and the unbreakable spirit of a little girl who refused to let the darkness win. And if you are watching this story today, if you know a child who is suffering, if you yourself are carrying wounds that no one else can see, please hear this. You are not alone. You are not broken. You are worthy of love, of protection, of happiness. The door is always open. The light is always on. And no matter how dark the night becomes, morning always comes. This is Maya's story, but it could be anyone's story. It could be your story, and that is why it matters, because every child deserves to be safe. Every child deserves to be believed. Every child deserves to know that when they cry out for help, someone will answer. Maya Johnson cried out, and the world answered. May we all have the courage to do the same. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has never overcome it. Never.